What up? What up? What up? This Ibn Webb, Quran, something here, official thanks thing I got going on here. Doing the Essex County all day edition. When I started this, again, this list of mine, I'll probably never get to everybody, but Lenny Watkins was on here, and I've been trying to connect with Lenny since doing this here, and I was able to. Wanted to say what's up to Jason Curry on the live for this one here, helping me out, getting a hold of Lenny here. So Lenny, wow, extraordinary athlete, great guy. Like I said, somebody he don't even know about it, like looked up to, and wanted to make sure I did what I had to do as well. So I'm just gonna get Lenny on. We're gonna hear about his walk somewhat here and go from there. Hold tight.
Yeah, there we go. That better?
Nah, we good, man. Peace, man. How you doing?
Good, man. Just getting my day rolling.
Okay.
Yeah, enjoying this beautiful summer off.
Yeah. Nah, I hear you. Like I said, that's a good thing, man. It's something new for me. You talk about the summers off. So
yeah.
So I'm in the education world, doing some work there now too. So just having the summer off, like I'm trying to get used to this. This is a good feeling.
Hey, I haven't worked the summer since 2001. I just worked summer school with the good Clifford J. Scott High School summer recovery. Physical education in the summer.
Okay. Now, but again, like I mentioned to you, I've been trying to get you right from day one here. So for you to do this and just give me a few minutes here, I'm honored, man. So thank you for doing this.
Okay.
Yeah, I know you laughing, but I'm dead serious. Like I said, I'm dead serious. And like I said, this is just your walk or what have you here, man. And I know just spending a lot of time in Montclair, what have you here. Were you raised?
Blind. Get the letter off the back.
Nah, no problem, man. Were you born in Montclair and raised entirely in Montclair?
I was I'm originally from 535 Prospect Street, downtown.
Okay.
I attended East Orange Co-op, which was a nursery school on the corner of what was that? Initially, it was on the corner of Main Street and Walnut, Main and Walnut, over by right over by the original East Orange High School.
Mm-hmm.
And then we moved over to the basement over on Glenwood, over by next to Essex Catholic.
Essex Catholic, right?
The church over there.
Okay.
And then by that time, I began my public school over in Nishawane. So I was in Nishawane pre-K through second, and I went up to Bradford 3 through 5, Glenfield middle, and up to the high school.
Okay, let me ask, because I know I got caught doing this. Now, when you went to Nishawane, were you still living in East Orange?
No, I was.
Okay.
We moved from. I was in pre-K, so
okay.
I moved to Montclair. I guess that must have. I'm 75.
Okay.
And I was born in 72.
Okay.
Yeah.
As far as just growing up, man, what kind of childhood you had? I mean, everybody say normal. I mean, so everybody's normal is different. So what was yours like?
The 70s normal. Matter of fact, this morning I just rode by Nishawane Park, and we talk about growing up here in Montclair. Nishawane Park was the staple. Go to Nishawane, you get there when the pool opens. You're there from when the pool opens, and you go out, get a lunch, get a sandwich, get back in the pool. You may go play a little basketball. I didn't like basketball because I didn't want people on my face trying to take the ball, and I couldn't really dribble that well. So I'll put my arm out. And then, we had, across the football field, we played the rough and tumble out there.
Mm-hmm.
And
definitely. I remember the pool. Passing the passes to get back if you forgot the little joint.
You pass through the gate.
Pass through the gate, everything. Yeah.
I would love to. I'm gonna find out. I'm gonna take my kids there since I'm right around the corner. I remember the pass used to be like $5, and then the worst case what happened was because it was a pin. You'd have to pin.
Yeah, the little pin joint, the little plastic. You put the pin through it,
and they wanted you to wear it while you were in the pool. So and then with your your tag will fall off and end up getting washed in the Western and sucked away in the bottom of the pool. So then you got to go back up to the Claremont Avenue, the PRCA, and buy another one.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't understand why you wouldn't just, put the tag on your backpack or pin it to your towel. But I'm sure times have probably changed.
Yeah.
And I know it's not $5 anymore.
Oh, it definitely ain't $5.
Yeah.
I heard they renovated up there. I haven't been up there. I heard they renovated the park.
Yeah, the parks. Actually, right now, I see they have like a soccer clinic up there right now.
Okay.
It's probably a good 100+ kids out there in the park on the field. But
let me ask.
Go ahead.
Being in Montclair, did you ever attend Grassroots, man?
So you go there. So Grassroots. I attended Grassroots when it was at Nishawayne.
Mm-hmm.
And we were behind Nishawayne.
Right.
And then all you would have to, the only time you went inside was it'd have to be pouring rain. You were outside in the rain. Mm-hmm. I remember you got one yellow T-shirt. You had to wear that. They would not let you come to camp. They would send you home. Yeah. If you did not have your T-shirt. So you talking about being outside 90 degrees, wearing that same yellow T-shirt. God rest his soul.
It's the choice.
It's the choice.
Yeah.
And Grassroots was unique.
Yeah, and it was always, I don't know about you, me attending, it was kind of like the end of the day. You waited for him to come through with that wagon.
On that bus. Yeah. Oh, you talking about the snack? Yeah.
I'm talking about the snack joints.
Yeah. I remember they had like the ice pops, like a frozen ice pop, mm-hmm. like in a wax type of package. Mm-hmm. Those were the good old days. I don't remember again how much Grassroots cost. Yeah. I just know Grassroots was punishment.
He's called a punishment.
Because it was, you talking about 90 degrees, you outside all day long. Mm-hmm. And then after that, I think I must have been I know I was in Bradford years, like 3rd, 4th grade.
Okay.
And then I, moved on, we go up to 4-H camp. And then I ended up going to Frost Valley, which was a YMCA camp. Okay. I'm sorry, I skipped Willow Lake Day Camp. I went to go, Willow Lake. That was up in West Milford.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
good stuff. Now, even with all of that, just one last thing with the Grassroots that I apologize. I cut you off. You about to talk about that green and yellow bus?
The yellow bus. Yeah. Yellow bus. It was and then I'll never forget when we used to go to Grassroots, if you in the camp, the first thing you want to do is take that daggone shirt off. I don't want nobody to know I go to Grassroots. You go to that's why you go to Grassroots.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, but it was good. It was good. It was that was the original FUBU. That was for us, by us.
I can see that.
That was the original FUBU.
I can see that. I know from summer camps and all these other camps, activity-wise, as far as sports, when did you start taking a liking to sports growing up?
I started football. Give me a second. I got to get this job going.
Okay.
I'm late right now. When I say late, I usually have, it's 10:15. I usually have my first cup by 7. Mm-hmm. But I'm sorry about that.
No. Okay.
My first shot at organized sports was football league called Montclair Cobras.
Okay.
And then when I first started, I was in 4th grade. I played for the Eagles, and my coaches were Coach Roger Terry, retired chief in Montclair, mm-hmm. and Jimmy Eason, Mr. Eason. Those are my stalwart brothers here, mm-hmm. in Montclair. And I actually ran into both of them at the Heritage Festival.
Okay.
Last June. And I think about, this was 1982. You're talking about 40 years ago from, and I think about these guys, they're now in their 70s, and I'm thinking 40 years ago, these men were younger than me, coaching football. And I look at them now, I'm like, wow, it's mm-hmm. it's a beautiful thing to have the memories that were created 40 plus years ago playing organized football. I would say the most beautiful thing was it was organized and we learned the fundamentals of football. God rest his soul, Mr. Howard Finney, he created the Cobras, and which is still here today. The league is a little smaller, considering, the student athlete isn't the same. It's not no, I don't know if it's the parents or if it's the interest in athletics, but the league is much smaller. When we played, you remember we played, there were several different, there were 4 teams, and you had the varsity level. When I'm a few years older than you, the first,
the B League and A League.
The B League. Well, you remember the B League, the A League. They had the Cobra Junior Varsity, and they had the Cobra Varsity, and they switched it up. And the B League, because the B League was for the most part like 4th, 5th, some 6th graders. And the A League was like, pretty much junior high, 6th, some 6th, 7th, a few 8th graders, but most of the 8th graders played on the varsity, which was the travel squad. So, I played a year of B League. I was a Husky boy, so I moved up. 5th grade, I played with the A League for 2 years. And then 7th, 8th grade, I played Cobra Varsity. I tell you.
Now you played Cobra Varsity 7th and 8th grade?
7th and 8th, yeah. 7th and 8th.
Okay.
And I tell this story because I still shed a tear. We were playing my first game. We played up at Anderson Park, and we played the Giants. And they had we had some good running backs. Our quarterback was Kev Snipes. I don't remember.
I know that name.
Kev Snipes. And John Nickens was our tailback. Long story short, the Giants had probably the best athlete in the entire. I'm not even taking nothing away from the A League or the varsity, but he was young, so I guess he had to wait, his turn.
His dudes, yeah.
We scored. We didn't get the extra. We didn't get the extra point conversion. So it was 6-0. We kicked the ball off. And this kid ran back to return. They got the extra point. They beat us 7-6. We all cried like little kids. Of course, I didn't want to play no more. Everybody. we probably didn't even sweat that game, but we had more tears on our jersey, looked like sweat. With all that being said, the guy, the running back, and I tell him all the time, every time I see him, Deron Sidaway. I told you almost ended my football career in one game. We laughed about that.
I remember that name.
Yep.
Wow, and that was in B League.
That was B League. The best way for me to describe, he looked like Moses, like he was like running on top of the grass. He looked like I'm gonna take you back. He looked like Bo Jackson on that play when he just on a Tecmo Bowl like that.
On top and he out of here. Yeah,
couldn't stop him. He couldn't stop him. He couldn't stop him.
Now you mentioned Cobras. It's crazy, like just how much, I don't know about you, but for me, just that enjoyment knowing football season was coming around.
Yeah,
we go to Mr. Finney's house to sign up. You get your 10,000 Cobra stickers to try to sell them.
And I paid for your membership. It was like you get 20 stickers. It was $20. And then you go. I don't know if anybody still has them on the windows around the house in the neighborhood.
That was a big deal putting them up like each year.
They had the year on it. The year.
Yes, that was a big deal. But the one thing, even looking back, even with Mr. Finney, was just kind of like he made things, well, at least from my eyes, like if you couldn't afford no equipment, he had that basement.
Yeah, with a basement or garage. Yeah.
Yeah,
because you figure back then there wasn't no sports authority.
It was like Murph's, I think.
No Dick's Sporting, because you had Murph's in Montclair, Bloomfield Sporting Goods over on Main Street. You had East Orange Sporting Goods before they moved up to West Orange, up there by Pleasant Valley Way.
Right.
Then another spot. I said, did I say Jacobson's?
Not Jacobson's.
Yeah, that was up by like Fleet Feet up there by Montclair Seafood. I'm taking you back.
Mhm.
But those were, you know, and then you got, you know, the hand-me-down, you know, you got you know, at that time, you know, the most important part of equipment was you had to have a cup.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And you know, you got your shoulder pads, and you know, we did, you know, you get your shoulder pads, take a pair of socks and make you look like you got wings on your shoulder pad.
Yeah, that's right. I remember that. Now you say that, I remember that. But I just think about even looking back at all the Cobra years, like this, all the talent that came through there. Obviously, you know, we have folks from other towns because I lived in Orange and played, but I just talk about Montclair in general. Just all the talent that was just there. You know, you running backs playing guards, and you know, you had to just put the athletes on the field.
Yeah. I mean, because you figure there was no weight limit at that time. You know, Cobras was not defined by weight, just pretty much by age. And you had a guard that was smaller than the tailback, or you from Orange. So one of the guys I played with was Latish Kensler.
Tish,
Tish went on. You know, Tish. Remember, we grew up. You know, and he went on.
We went to Immaculate together.
Immaculate, and they went to Cincinnati. Yeah. Tish was like, you know, he was like Lynn Swan. Like, you just throw the ball up, he gonna go get it. Tish was, you know, and you know, I want to say he was 2 years older than me. I think either 2 or 3. I want to say he came out
89. He graduated
89. Yeah. Him and Snipes, well, they were all the same age.
Yeah. Now, here's where my dispute probably comes in with you here. We might bump heads.
Okay,
you know, I know you had speaking of Cobras, your 8th grade team. You know, that was a year before me, before I played with Cobra Vars. I believe y'all had a tie. You know, because I hear this from Duran, and I think it was a couple other people.
Oh, per se.
Bottom line, I know the following year we ran the table, like undefeated. We clearly like to say we're the best team to ever be in Cobras here, but I'm sure you're going to dispute that.
I'm not going to dispute that. I mean, we had a good team. We really did. I would say even with my brother, he's 5 years younger than me. They had some talented Cobras teams.
Okay.
And when I was a senior, you know, in '90, they went down to Florida, and I saw the, you know, they just, you know, VHS camcorder.
Yeah.
I saw some footage when they got back. They played a team. My brother was pretty fast. He played safety. And you know, nobody got behind him. And he said, yo, we played this guy. This guy was the fastest guy I ever seen in my life. He said, I couldn't catch him. Their team was from Omaha, Nebraska. You probably know this running back. He went on, had a great college career, went up to Green Bay, won number 30, Mon Green. Yeah. You know, that Cobra team got ran off the field. That Omaha team ran them off that Nebraska team ran them off the field. And my brother had that, and his quarterback was Darian Johnson.
Okay. Yeah. Nah. That even going down to Florida, you mentioned that, like even us going down, we went down there and took care of business down there too. It was a hell. That was fun. Like, and those guys again, we was a year off from your squad here, so I know sometimes, you know, Darryl Williams and the rest of the guys will joke about it, and you know, and again, I know there's arguments because I know that your squad was obviously Pine, you got DeBron, you got Mark Klein, you got. I'm forgetting a bunch of people.
Dwayne Green. We had some players. Shoot, Tyrone Crawley.
Tyrone, wow.
You know, on and on and on. Yeah. And then the year before, that's when we had a pretty good fullback, kid named Mike Caggiano. Went to Immaculate.
Yeah.
You know, Caggiano family is pretty big in Montclair. I was kind of surprised that he didn't go to Montclair like his parents went to school with my parents.
Okay.
But who knows? And his older brother PJ was all-state tight end out of Montclair. PJ, he came out in '88. You know, he was a man when I was a boy. He was like, you know, I joke around all the time when you talk about like you know, like men versus boys.
Mm-hmm.
I looked at when I was a freshman, like looking at the guys who were like seniors, juniors. I look at like Corey Triplin and like Everett Alexander, Lance Alex. Those was like some grown men. Like I'm like,
yeah.
And I remember, freshman year, we had a good team. In my sophomore year, I'm like, this is real deal football now. Real deal.
Now, it was no doubt in your mind. I mean, and again, I know things are different nowadays, but it was back then. It was no doubt in your mind. You going to Montclair High? There's no Catholic school. It's nothing you going to. You're going to Montclair High.
Yeah. We kind of like met a pack. Everybody's gonna ride together.
Okay.
For the most part, if I look at a picture from my little league years, from the Eagles to the Patriots to Cobra Varsity, my classmates and guys younger than me, we pretty much play together. You talking about anywhere between Cobras, if it was 3 to 5 years, and along with 4 years, you're talking about anywhere between 5 to 9 years. Together, organized football.
Yeah. Nah, that camaraderie, that helps. I mean, people don't realize how important that is, especially each other in and out, off the field, everything else here, man. Like you get up to the high school here, you're just playing freshman, or you playing JV, sneak in the varsity game.
Freshman, Montclair, is traditional. Freshmen play freshmen, regardless on your level of talent. And like I said earlier, them was some grown men. Jokers had beards, mustache. Like I had baby, I was baby face, kid, and those are grown men. But you say that, I still got it still was a warm embrace, because many of the guys I played with, because I was young when I started, 4th grade, playing Cobras. So, and then most of the guys I played with were 2 years older than me, at that time. I was playing Cobras, and then they just moved on, and I kept playing. But Cobras definitely created a good foundation for Montclair.
Oh yeah, definitely. Now back then, there was correct me if I'm wrong, there's a freshman team, there was a sophomore team, a JV, and varsity.
Yeah, in the high school. Yeah, I mean, I don't know what the numbers are now, but I remember I'm not even joking with you. It's like they used to cut. I mean, you had to make the team. You know what I'm saying? Like, you didn't just get a jersey on a locker. You had to make the team. So you're talking about, let's just say on the freshman team, we had 30 some odd players. And I think about when I coached at Clifford Scott, we had like 30 players on the varsity, 35 players. And in East Orange, had a little less than we did. So, and then on varsity, I never had that problem. I actually wore the same number throughout.
Let me guess. Is it 63?
63.
Yeah, I remember.
So I wore 63 from my side. And then this is how I got 63 when I was a sophomore. Here you go. It's your jersey. That's like, no, let me get, back in the day, it's only one number that you wanted to wear as a lineman. You wanted to wear 56. Everybody wanted to emulate LT. Everybody wanted to be LT, I'm not taking nothing away from Klecko. I perfected that side, angle stance, but everybody wanted to wear 56. That was the GOAT, and 56. I don't remember who had 56. Andres Vasquez had 56.
Okay.
He was a when I got there, sophomore, he was a junior, and he ended up being a captain. So I couldn't be like, bro, let me get it.
Nah. Would you make the breakthrough as far as playing varsity?
Oh, okay. I remember like it was yesterday. So I always felt defense was my side of the ball, and Montclair was what pretty much was a 2-platoon team. You know, you start, you know, one side of the ball,
Mm-hmm.
you know, for the most part, you know, and there was well enough talent not to have you go one way and the person who would be on the other side would not be to the same level as you. We had talent.
Yeah, yeah.
So I wanted to play D tackle. I wanted to play in tackle or nose. Anywhere else slots on the line. There's 5 slots I could play. And then I ended up running with the offense. I'm like, I don't want to play tackle. I want to play offense. There ain't no glory in that, you know. You know, and we played our first game. We played Nutley. And the left tackle in the game, he played the whole game. He played the whole game, not taking nothing away from him. And then Monday we watched the film. And then Tuesday we had practice, and then the change was made. So I began starting as a sophomore, second game of the season, and I never looked back. That year, we were like 7-3, I think, or no, we were 6-4.
And that's a down year. Those times.
Yeah. We played Elizabeth. My sophomore year. And it's funny because the guy who was like a 1-man, was a 2-man army, Crunching Munch, they went by Malik and Jamil Jackson.
Yeah.
So I cycle, and he cycles also. He cycles with a club out of Elizabeth. And we, to this day, we constantly, I always joke him about how, they beat us 12-0. And they went on to win the state that year in '88. And, him and his brother, Jamil, they were the backers. And the kid I went against, I remember, because cool dude, he ended up going to Rempo. I named Jesse Vickers. He was about 6'4", about 260. Big joker. And I'm like 5'11", like 215, 220. Played a good game. I mean, he gave me that work. But I didn't give up no sacks, nothing like that. Then we ended up losing to we lost our last 2 games. We lost to Passaic. And that's how we ended up 6-4. So we talking about we went in the playoffs at 6-2 or something like that. And we know ended the season like 6-2. And at that time, remember, it was only 4 teams that made the
states. Yeah.
And it was Section 1 and Section 2. We were in Section 2, and Section 2 was pretty much Essex, Union, Morris, that Phillipsburg, like Hunter County, whatever county Phillipsburg is out there.
Phillipsburg,
Yeah. It's pretty much north to central Jersey. Would be at that time, Section 2, and Section 1 was Hudson, Bergen, Passaic County. But you had to have a great team to make the playoffs. And then you think about from Orange, you figure Terrell, they went 8-1.
They make it.
They make the playoffs.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Now, and it's interesting you bring up that year, your sophomore year, and even playing Elizabeth and all of that. Now, what happens when you get on the defensive side of the ball? When did that happen? Junior year or?
Yeah. So I told my junior year, I said, I gave y'all a year as a tackle. Not what I want to do.
Yeah.
So I ended up going on the opposite side of the ball. I played D tackle. Which is what I wanted to do. It wasn't met with any, it wasn't met with any issues. And I wasn't even thinking about playing both ways. I just wanted to play tackle. And we had a decent team that year. Of course,
that Nikki and Mike and all of them, right?
correct. Yeah, that was that was the that was the '89 team. So that was Nicky Camp, Flowers, Steve Frank.
Wow.
Mike Mickens. I'm looking right now. God rest his soul, Eric Taylor Perry.
Eric, yeah.
Believe it or not, Evan, I don't know if I got, not even trying to joke about any CTE or PTSD. My Cobras, I remember Cobras better than I remember high school and college. I remember Cobra plays, I remember the cadence set down 81, 82. I remember, but you asked me about a college game. I don't know. I do, but I don't remember. My junior year, be truthful with you, we weren't that good.
Okay.
We weren't that good.
And still made the playoffs.
Yeah, we made the playoffs. We lost to a Morris Knowles team. Got shut out 17-0. They ran the veer, and we couldn't stop the veer. I mean, they drove us up and down the field. And what ended up happening with Morris Knowles was that year, you talk about guys play together. They lost like their freshman, finding out down the line, their freshman year, their sophomore year, those guys were juniors. They lost. Their senior year just had a breakout season.
Okay. And that's crazy. Just to slide back to Cobras, one thing with Cobras, I know that helped out even on what you guys here. At least I think it did. Y'all saw everybody grew up together. Like, played the Pattersons, the Passaics.
Yeah, we played the East Side
back then,
the Bloomfield teams.
The same conference come high school.
Yeah, the NNJL. We, for the most part, with the conference that we played, we played the Teaneck, Hackensack. I played Hackensack my senior year. They were on the other side of NNJL, but we played them.
Right.
Ridgewood. Those same teams that we ended up seeing those guys when we were older. And then my senior year, that was the year I actually, if you want to go there.
No, real quick though, before we get to that, how did wrestling help you with all of this? With playing D tackle, is interesting. You get the low gravity and everything else.
So wrestling came about. Actually, I thought about wrestling. I went to a camp, PRCA camp, a Montclair camp for wrestling, and I was like maybe seventh, eighth, maybe I think I was seventh grade. I was young, and Montclair didn't have a club wrestling team like Bloomfield or Belleville or Nutley. Montclair, is football town. And I'll never forget, this dude got slammed. Like his wrist was like, it was all twisted. Like, it was like, man, this ain't for me, man. Ain't got no equipment on, man. Ain't nobody going. And the mat is about this thin. And you think about at that time,
you're gonna feel it.
I was WrestleMania. I was like, the figure four is real. The camel clutch. Like, I mean, you can't tell me to this day wrestling is fake. And to go up in there in that little thin mat, and you figure gymnastics mats are thicker. The mat, jokers be running down and doing the ball, and they coming down. I'm like, this mat too thin. We up here on this basketball court, jokers getting slammed, jokers getting up sideways. Like, this ain't for me. And then got to the high school, freshman year, I didn't think about it. Because this dude, Corey Triplin, he was a heavyweight, and I was like 215, 220. I was like, I ain't gonna be nobody ragged out. He's not gonna be slamming me around. I was like, I'm just waiting for him to graduate, and I'll do it then. And then my sophomore year, I had a phys ed teacher. He kept on me. Come on out. I was like, I'm gonna try it. The conditioning is where it all starts, because you gotta first be in shape, to go 2 minutes. Then you gotta also worry about learning your move and making sure this joker don't slam you or take you down and pin you. So it's an individual sport. And I will say that wrestling, definitely, you start talking about defense, it's leverage. And in football, the lower man usually tends to win. And what wrestling did for me for football, it just catapulted my football, abilities. As a defensive lineman, coaches always tell you to stay low.
Right.
Don't look in the backfield. If you start, you try to swim somebody, if they get on the armpits, they're going to drive you.
You're gonna go for a ride, yeah.
For a ride, you're gonna get pancaked. So it's the same way with wrestling. And I would like to say that I definitely would not have been to the level of a football player if it weren't for wrestling. I wish I would have started wrestling in grade school. If I wrestled, at 4th, 5th grade, if I started wrestling, at that same time, football, I can only imagine, how much of a difference it would have made.
No, appreciate you sharing that. Now, even with you mentioned Joe Klecko earlier. So,
Yeah.
just thinking about how did you just work on, and again, that whole being on a different side of the ball, angles and this and that, was that coaching or just something you just developed on your own as far as your techniques?
I had a good D-line coach, but my breakout occurred in my backyard with a very good friend, a great mentor, very great coach, great man, very good pastor by the name of Alton Craig Dunn. You know him as Craig Dunn. Craig, all-state player, out of Montclair, basketball player, football player. Went to Villanova, played football down there. It ended up happening was the football team, they canceled they did away with the football program. Ended up transferring to Ohio State. Went to Ohio State, played backer out there in the early 80s. And then went on to the league, got a shot with that. But he was an assistant coach at the high school.
Okay.
And he lived in Montclair also. What ended up happening was he came by the house. We're talking in the yard, and then he was like, "Yo, this was the season," and he was like, "You got to change your stance." So at that time, every D lineman wanted, had that like that track stance, like like you rushing the passer. More so like the whole Bosa stance, or Nick, Joey Bosa, like
yes,
you want to get upfield.
right.
And that's cool on 3rd and 15, but on 1st and 10 or 3rd and 2, that's not a good stance to have. So what Craig did was he adjusted my stance, no matter, let's just say 3-4 inches. And from that adjustment right there, it just changed my ability to get off the ball, to move laterally, to defend the double team, and I credit Craig all the time. We joke about, just a few inches can make a huge difference, and that's the key. You got to be, as a student athlete, you got to be coachable. And if you're not coachable, in your eyes, you're great in your eyes. However, you're still limiting yourself. And Craig definitely had a huge impact on my not just on my athletic ability, but on my confidence. So what ended up happening was my senior year, I was not voluntold. I was instructed that you're going to play both ways. You're going to play offense and defense. I said, well, I'm in great shape, with wrestling, and I think I could do it. I haven't played both ways since freshman year, and I played left guard, D tackle and / D end, depending on if we ran a 6-1 and a 4-3. So we went 6-1. I was like at the tackle, and at a 4-3, I was at the defensive end.
You was one of my guys too, so that might have helped the transition a little bit, George.
Yeah. So, I'm still like, I tell you, my memory on some things is great and some things is sketchy, but I definitely remember, left tackle was Mark Elder.
Mark, that's right. I forgot about Mark. Yep. Yep.
I played left guard. Jason Relke played the center.
Mm-hmm.
George Wood was the right guard, and Jim Vigna was the right tackle. And our tight end was Brian Marriott, and then you had Jay Curry. He played like, he was like a flex end. He wasn't, more so like a Tony Gonzalez or Gates or Kelsey. Didn't, very rarely lined up next to the tackle.
Mm-hmm.
Jason, he was a straight up guy. He didn't like getting dirty.
Yeah.
He didn't get dirty.
He had to. He have to.
I'd like to see. I gotta look at some old 13 millimeter to see if you ever gotten a 3-point stance. I don't think so.
Yeah.
I don't even know if you ever hit the sled.
Yeah, nah. We just threw it up, and he went and got it.
Yeah.
That's all.
Yeah.
But with that line you talking about, I can see why Terrence and Corey, and I know Darryl, rest in peace. I know everybody did they think. I can see with that line. Woo.
Darryl, Darryl was a Ram. He played Rams.
Okay.
Rams was
East Orange Rams down at East Orange.
The Rams is
they played over Oval Park.
Center.
Yeah, down at Oval Park.
Yeah, he played for the Rams. He played for the Rams. And he came up, he moved to Montclair his freshman year.
Okay.
Freshman ball. Darryl was a great athlete. He was a 3-sport guy. He played, football, basketball, and he did the hurdles.
Mm-hmm.
Great athlete, yeah. But cool dude, man.
So I get that senior. I know I brought this up to I think Deron when I told. It was just interesting, obviously me being over across town there, but just leading into that scene, it started right from the beginning. I know you said the breakout year, y'all got back going Mike and them senior year, your junior year, but your senior year, the whole thing, they tried to hype up the whole thing with Jason and Pond. The whole quarterback thing. I know Jason wanted to play. He wanted to win. I get it. But with Pond and I just be completely honest here, I think all of us, and you make echo this, like, when Pond got on the field, you kind of knew what time it is. You knew he was the quarterback and everything else here. So it was always interesting. You guys, the hype machine started right from there, as far as right from the first game, I think, with Bloomfield. And Bloomfield just came off a state run. I know they lost to Elizabeth, I believe, the year before in the state. So they was coming off a better year than Montclair. So it got going. So just I don't know. Is that accurate to say?
Yeah. I mean, I can't say that. One thing I can't say is Snyder, he was a tough guy, man.
Mm-hmm.
Pont, when we played Little League, he played safety, and he pretty much, he was like Deion, his shoulder pads, his shoulders weren't, meant to be used. They was only supposed to be worn in clothes. He didn't. Pont. He was a good offensive player, great quarterback, great field general. Jason was just a good athlete. I don't know. I mean, he wanted to play quarterback. I do understand that. But I mean, unless Pont got hurt, or as we always did, I think we had 4 shutouts our season year.
Okay.
4, I think it's 4 or 6, 1 or 2. We weren't going to run a 2-quarterback system. And truth be told, I think Jay could have played linebacker. He could have played end.
Yeah. Okay.
Snyder could have done a lot. He could have been a receiver. But I respect that. He wanted to play quarterback, and his dad lived in Bloomfield. So
okay.
Bloomfield. He had a good career down in Bloomfield, but he was a traitor.
Yeah. So I had to bring it to him and everybody else that year. Like, just tell me early on just how it's going. You guys, like, when did you realize that y'all had something? At least in your eyes.
I didn't.
Yeah.
I just thought we were just coached up. I thought the game plan that was provided to us, we executed it. And we had some good athletes, and I really believe that the set we ran, a pro set, it was right there for you to stop, but could you stop it?
Mm-hmm.
No, we're gonna run power at you. You know we're gonna trap.
Mm-hmm.
You know we're gonna drag Jason across the field.
Mm-hmm.
Can you stop it?
Yeah. Yeah.
For the record, the defense, again, offense don't create shutouts. The offense, get the points, defense scored points also. So
Crazy. And that defense, talk about you got Corey, Darryl, a linebacker, you got Deron, you got Gary, you got Dyro. You got all these. Damn, I could probably name the whole defense here. But yeah, and I'm missing some people.
Well, the core, and they're not taking nothing away from the secondary or from Corey Higgins and Will Conley. Those were our primary backers. Not taking nothing away from them, but the core was the interior line, which was myself, Kevin Garrett.
Mark too, right?
Mark Elder, guy, which I thoroughly believe he was the angriest man in the world. Guy by the name of Earl Lumpkin.
Earl.
Yeah, Earl was, 6'4", 215, 220, can run like a deer.
Mm-hmm.
He was a throwback player.
Mm-hmm.
I'll never forget, we were playing and the ball carrier, put his hand up. He put his hand up, and I reached out, picked him up. And then Earl said, "Man, don't pick him up, man. Don't do that shit." But Earl was the renegade. Earl was like Earl was like a Charles Haley guy. He didn't talk to nobody, didn't take no
Mm-hmm.
He kept it himself, don't go by his locker. He was Earl was not the one to be, and I was the guy that like they would be like, "Yo, go talk to Earl." Like I was supposed to calm, like I can't calm him down. He don't listen to Gary. He's bro, he don't listen to me.
Yeah.
But that was a good team. And then the other outside backer in was a guy by the name of Howard Goldburn.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I had 10 sacks. He had like 9, somewhere around there. We used to say, "Meet me in the backfield." Party in the backfield. Everybody fight it.
Mm-hmm.
That was
and it's interesting. I mentioned those other teams as far as the help that you've seen along the way since being 7th and 8th grade. But what about those other ones that's on the horizon here? You got the St. Joe's, the Bergen Catholics. Like, how was it just competing against them? I think Eric was playing with Bergen back then too. I think Eric Lane, he was a running back. Yeah. How was it competing against? And again, I know the schools are where they at now, but they started, picking up steam back then.
So at the time of those 4 schools, we're talking about
Paramus Catholic, I might be forgetting too.
Yeah, you're talking about PC, Bosco, Bergen, and Joe.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Never beat St. Joe's. My freshman year, sophomore year, junior year, never beat them. Will we have beat them our senior year? Who knows?
Mm-hmm.
Bergen Catholic, never lost to them.
Okay.
Bosco scrimmaged them. They were on the small side of the NNJL. And Paramus Catholic, small side. Joe's had a kid. I think he was from East Orange also. Where was Greg from? Telemac.
I think he was somewhere in Essex County. I'm not sure where.
Yeah. But he was like a 6'3", 230-pound tailback. And they ran a stretch, or they just tossed the ball. Once he got to the edge, so you're talking about a kid, a man among boys.
Mm-hmm.
I remember Eric Lane. He never got it going against us. He couldn't get out the backfield with us.
Okay.
But we played. That was a tough game. We played them up there my senior year, and that was when I realized that we definitely had something special.
Okay.
because that was a tough game. But we persevered through that. BC was tough every year we played them.
Yeah.
They were tough every year.
Yeah.
But it's a private school. You got kids from New York State, come down, kids from, you figure, BC, Dan Clacko lived in Colts Neck, Freehold, and you figure got a limo service every day to Bergen Catholic.
Yeah.
So, Harvey Martin's son lived in upstate New York, so people, so now, like, the BC, Bosco, they go back and forth. But regardless, Montclair was still a powerhouse, and we were always competitive. But that their schedule, along with the recruiting, allows them to get anybody. So imagine if Essex Catholic were capable of doing what BC did,
right?
Backed by the diocese. Truth be told, the original Bishop Francis, which was down there on Broadway, the original one,
right? North, yes.
Where Coach Schumacher went to school. Nick Del Tufo, my principal when I was taught at Campus 9. He was a teacher in Clifford Scott. He played basketball at Essex Catholic, But you're talking about Essex Catholic had over 2,000 students, males, in the 60s and 70s.
Yeah.
To where I think it closed in 01. They may have had like 100 and something students at that time, when on Midland campus. Glenwood.
Glenwood, right.
Yeah.
That's crazy just to see the difference. We're only talking schools from another county as far as those schools did. I know that's crazy here, man. I know you mentioned as far as having something special. So the rankings, all this stuff starts taking off as far as number one in the state.
Coach Davies said, don't look at that paper.
Yeah, he did mention. Yeah, he did say that. Yeah. But it's hard not to. Being 16, 17 years old.
Yeah.
It's really, it's pretty hard not to.
I got scrapbooks.
Right.
With clippings. I don't know where we started the season off at our ranking. I don't remember off the top of my head. But we went all the way up to our last game, ranked one in the state. I want to say we were like 4 or 7 in the nation or something like that. USA Today poll. Yeah.
How was the town then? If you could recall, just how was the school, the atmosphere around that time, if you could recall?
I don't think I never felt like Boobie Miles. I never felt,
Actually, I watched that the other day.
Yeah. You did have some juice, in Montclair. If you play football, you can go to some local restaurants, and your money wasn't any good. Go to Wellmont. Your money was, your money no good here. And, Montclair, even in today's era, is still a football town. And I look at, and I say it all the time, I can't blame the level of competition that teams have had. You figure we didn't win a state championship, and then years after, the Montclair was rolling them out. And then I know some people are like, well, those teams aren't that good. The teams they playing aren't any good. So I guess the Montclair team isn't any good either, then, if that's the case. So I look at just errors. I'm not going to say that my team would beat Aubrey Lewis team, or the Haynes brothers team, or my uncles, the Spivies. I'm not saying that in any way that my team would have destroyed Ricky Cook's team or Khalif's team, whatever. It doesn't, because I'm gonna tell you now, you could talk all that Jay Curry stuff you want about him being a great receiver. Quintus McDonald was an awesome receiver. I just learned he played receiver. I don't
never
know
knew that.
people.
I just
people-
learned that.
Quintus McDonald could have played tailback, but they just had too many tailbacks in Montclair. I mean, and you figure Quintus was 6'3", 6'4", or 230. And that whole flex in thing is what Jay Curry played. Yeah. Quintus did. Quintus. I can't imagine having to tackle Quintus. I let him run by me and I jump on his shoulder, horse collar him or something.
I hope he come down,
So you start talking about, that 83 team that beat Union, win the state championship, that was the team. That was Coach Fortunato's team. The 84 team, which was a Jack Davies team, that's the team that lost to Union down there in Bloomfield.
Down Foley,
Yeah. But I mean, again, those were men. I'm sure it's some guys younger than me probably will look at me and our as men. Those were some grown men. So I'm not taking nothing away, from even Webb, who came out a few years back. They had all those yards. I mean, I don't think that Coach Fortunato, and I know Coach Davies would not have had a running back. Not taking nothing away from Coach Labita or the guys who just left out of Montclair, guy from down there, who won all the states.
Yeah. And the name's on my tongue.
Yeah, but running backs with 2,500 yards, having 40 carries in the game, Coach Davies wouldn't have done that. Coach Davies, even with us, having 40 points, he didn't like it. He didn't like to run the score up. Players need stats. If you want to get them to schools, you need stats, you need film, you need footage. I remember watching I went to a game, a Friday night game out in Belleville, and I watched Ricky Cook, a man among boys. I mean, like, first of all, they couldn't tackle him because they couldn't catch him. But I mean, they took him out the game first half. He had 200 something yards. He running sprints. He's barely getting touched. And we had 2,000-yard backs.
Yeah, you did, yeah.
And if they would have played the second half or fourth quarter, they could have, because the yards come easier as the game gets going. They could have had 1,500 yards, 25, TDs apiece.
Yeah.
Pont didn't throw for 2,000 yards.
No.
Pont, and if we would have ran a pro set, and then motion, backs to a single back set or empty set, or ran an Air Force set, Pont could have threw for 3,000 yards. He could have threw 300-400 yards per game. But that wasn't how we played. We played a very conservative, smash mouth game. It wasn't about embarrassing people and running. Coach Davies wanted to be able to shake the hand, the head coach's hand at the end of the game and not have to worry about Joker, want to talk trash to him as they walk off the field.
Yeah. But how fun ultimately? I mean, just with everything said and done. I mean, I know the bottom line didn't happen here, but just how much fun was that year for you? I mean, was it fun for you looking back? Was it fun for you?
It was easy.
Yeah.
Because coming off my junior year, Knowles ran a clinic on us. I didn't cry. I didn't cry, but I was like, I don't ever want that feeling again.
Yeah.
A guy by the name Bill Shivers, I played left tackle. He drove me up and down the field. Because the Veer, you come off the ball, you don't see the ball, so you automatically stand it up, you start reaching. And we were out coached that game.
Okay.
You can't use a traditional 3-point stance, and what I learned in college, which I didn't know in high school, but defensive linemen, y'all don't make tackles. You make plays. Let the linebackers make the tackles. If you're a good player, you're gonna demand a double team. if you're being double teamed, it should be an ISO with that runner and the linebacker. Now, if the running back runs the linebacker over, that ain't your fault. But you're here to make a play. You create the play in order for the tackle to be made. I'm out here trying to make tackles. I'm out here getting driven down the field. So my senior year, we played Knowles. Oh, I knew what to do. I like I said earlier, my stance was already adjusted. In that game right there, you playing a veer. I don't plan on making no tackles. I plan on driving the tackle, off the ball, so the quarterback can't ride down all he could try to do is dive the ball to the fullback, and there's no outside ride, there's no veer. So once you start moving those, linemen, you can't run the ball. So I had a great game against them. I don't remember how many tackles I had, but I just know that we were coached up this time. And I think I used a 4-point stance for the majority of the game.
Okay. That gives you a different look.
Yeah. Yeah. And when you low, you come off the ball, ball carrier or the quarterback can't see you because you're just as low as their offensive tackle. So.
And to your point with the position you was at too, that ignites everything here. Definitely how you get off the ball, you push in the center and guards back. That throws that whole veer off. That quarterback, I know it's a read thing. Yeah.
Once you take away the midline, now you got to pass the ball. And when you run in the veer, it's very hard to pass because you pretty much got to waggle. And what the penetration and speed, it's going to take 5 seconds to get that waggle, 5 to 7 seconds for you. You got to roll out
after all the fakes and
tackle. Got to you fake into the fullback. The tight end got to drag across the field. He got to be open.
Yes.
If he's not open, because for the most part, veer is single man routes. If you're passing a drag, you can't run a post corner with no veer because you got to waggle. I don't know any quarterback who can roll out to the left and throw the ball 40 yards, 30 yards across the field, 20 yards down the field, which is 50-yard pass on a dime.
Yeah.
It's kind of hard. And you talking about 7 seconds. That's a long time.
That's a long football play.
Yeah.
Accolades, all that stuff start kicking in, man, for you. It's crazy. And I don't know about you, but me, obviously Star Legend and getting it. And, obviously we got the all counties, I think is great. But I just know that certain December Sunday comes out. It's the all state.
Yeah.
The cartoon characters of the first team.
Yeah.
And for some reason, not for some reason, for all the reasons in the world, your play led you to being one of those cartoon characters, man. Like how was that as far as being first team all state, man?
Well, first, let me go back to my junior year. I didn't make all county. I made all conference, second team all conference as a D tackle. I was like, okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Then going into my senior year, Star Legend came up. They did a preseason picks with us. Picks they took with me with Jason Rucky. He was the center, I was the guard. I'm like, what are you taking offense pitches for? I'm playing D-line, man. I'm like, want to pick a picture of me, Star Legend? All right. Then the game started coming, and then at the end of the game, the people you interview are quarterback, running back, guys who scored the touchdowns, right? Those are the guys who you interview. So, I'm walking off, after we, break it up, monthly free market of pride. And I'm getting called over by reporters, asking me, about the game. I'm like, me? And I'm just humble, I just, you had 7 solo tackles, 3 sacks, 2 forced fumbles. Like, I did that. Oh. And I remember talking to you about Earl. I never forget when Earl whenever Earl would make a play, he would always stand up, like put his hands out,
Yeah.
like, he was like, yo, man, I'm tired of people not giving my credit when I make a sack. He's like, I'm gonna, so they call his name so they get the stat. Because at the end of the, at the game, we come inside, we, the statisticians, we were asking the girls, the guys who do the stats, let me see my stats, we over here, counting up tackles and the running backs, receivers, they counting yards and things of that nature. And then you have the game, the Fridays game, preview. And then you start talking about, Dara Elder, and Corey Haggins and Terrence Garrison and Lamont Ponton and Lenny Watkins. I'm like, them guys, Daryl's fullback, Corey's fullback, tailback, T. Garrison running back, like people who get featured are the ones who score points. Like, okay, I might be on to something. And then my senior year, I went over to I guess that would be Passaic, where the Herald is.
Okay.
I took a picture. They asked me to take a picture, so I made all area.
Okay.
It'd be like Essex, Hudson, Berkeley for the Herald News. Okay. So I look at the names, the guys who were on the list. I'm like, yo, these dudes are some ballers.
Yeah, yeah.
Because another guy, some more guys, Sean.
You got Sean
Collins. We cycled together also. He's and his son went to Markler High. And I joke with him about that, when I see him, like, your son had to come to real school to play football. I like you. And I'm like, well, I might be all right. And then where I took the picture for the Herald before the season was even over. And of course, we'll talk about that game when we get to
you want to? I know when we spoke behind the scenes, I said I'll leave it alone.
Yeah, we could talk about it, but
okay.
That game was December 1st. But sticking with the accolades, I remember I went around for some reason Sunday, the Star Ledger woke up, it wasn't outside in the grass. I get up.
That's probably because I took it. That was my thing. I was still papers because I didn't want to buy one.
Yeah, so it was like 7 something in the morning. I'm like, yo, and I'm driving over to Handy Dandies.
And
Handy Dandy over
Handy Dandies. Yeah, I know exactly.
So I go over to Handy Dandy, and Rick was behind the counter. And then I'm looking right at the guy. He used to own Handy Dandy. Can't remember his name. Say, hey, man, take a paper. You're in the paper. Lenny, you're in the paper. What are we talking about? So, I mean, not to take it away. I remember I met All County. I was first to All County.
Right.
But I'll never forget, my name was at the top of the banner. Like Watkins, leads first, team off. Like you got,
that's crazy.
Carroll was a sophomore. He ran. I mean, he had great numbers. You had Freddie Felice, out of Bloomfield.
Right.
You had Bobby Diaco. I played with him in North South.
Bobby, yeah.
Up in Cedar Grove.
Cedar Grove, yes.
He was a tailback. Linebacker. Went out to. Where did he go to Iowa?
Iowa. He went to Iowa.
And it was the whole daggone offense. Almost, pretty much could have been first team All County. We had a majority of the team did make All County, but I was awed at my name being up top in the county. And you got to wait because Essex is like the last. They go like Somerset, Middlesex.
You get to All County.
County. I'm like, what's up with Essex County? But you got to remember, the Star Ledger is based out of North, so they're gonna make you wait.
Yeah.
So then,
but you knew earlier that week because you had to take the picture, go take the picture and all that, right?
So the picture the picture for All County, I went to Star Ledger down there, Washington Street, and took the picture. Washington, one of them streets down there. I took the picture. So like, oh, okay. Then in the All State, I'll go in at the time that Star Ledger was 35 cents.
And it's like this, the Sunday paper, yeah.
It was 10 cents on a weekday, 35 cents on a weekend. And I opened it up, and then at the top, there's Watkins, first team All State. I'm like, this is crazy.
Yeah.
And I never set out for personal accolades. I never wanted to be looked at or be called the man. I never felt I was the best, one of the best linemen in the state. I never felt like it was more than just a game, and it was fun. It was always fun. Practice was hard. The game was fun.
Yeah.
Because a Tuesday practice is the hardest practice of the week, because we doing conditioning, very little actual fundamentals. We driving the sled, we running our tails off. And then Wednesday you set up for the offensive game plan. Thursday you set up for defensive game plan. And Friday, if we didn't play a Friday, it was a walkthrough. But I to this day, I'm just humble. I don't think of it. I'll never forget an interview that Mike Tyson did, and he had all his belts out, and he said, these mean nothing. The certificates, the accolades, they mean nothing if you don't enjoy what you're doing.
Yeah.
And if I didn't enjoy it, it wouldn't have meant anything. If I worked for it and didn't get it, I would have been bitter. But I didn't work for it. I felt like I was just surprised.
Really?
I was surprised.
Now that's something you did not know till you went and grabbed the paper. You didn't know. I had no clue. Wow.
Then even with being picked to play in a North-South game, I didn't. You figured if first team All State,
Right.
But it's politics in that also. Because I went to a small HBCU, Virginia State University, and there were some guys that didn't even make first team or second team All State, but they went to big schools. So their coaches would lobby to get them in there, and I'm not taking nothing away from the guys who I play with North-South game, but there was definitely a different level of talent. And I realized people weren't as good as I thought they were. When I was going through the paper and seeing these numbers or remember Sportsfolio that they come out and do the preview. I'm like, man, I'm not taking nothing away from the South, but the football is in the North.
Yeah. Now y'all won? Did y'all win?
Yeah, we won like 26-12 or something like that.
And it's interesting, your experience. Mine was different because I played with Jason. Obviously, Jason is a North-South game, all that, and Terrell, Sean, all those guys there. My experience was me coming from a small parochial school was kind of like seeing these guys like, all right, as heralds as they are. To your point, there was some like, all right, but you got others. Like Terrell, I grew up with Terrell. Terrell Orange, obviously. I'm like, Terrell's fast as shit. And I doing practice. We had one live practice, and I was like, you get the wrong angle on him, he's by you. And then and Cameron, I played with Cameron Chadwick, all these guys from Union. So my experience was like some of these guys are as advertised. Sean, me sitting in the room just hanging out with Sean and Zati Moody over there. And just sitting around it, and Aaron from Wayne Valley. He wound up going to Purdue, I think. So my experience was more like, all right, I'm from the small parochial school here, but to be around some of these guys here, someone says advertised, but to your point, it was something that was kind of like, all right, Yeah. So it was interesting you shared your experience here. That was cool to hear.
Yeah, because again, I made first team all state as a defensive end, defensive tackle. I had the stats, but I don't know how, I don't know why. I ended up playing offensive guard in the North-South game.
Oh, I didn't really.
Yeah, and to find out to this day, you know, John Davies, Coach Davies' son, he was offensive line coach.
Mm-hmm.
And him and Coach Davies, Coach Davies, you know, rest his soul. They said, you're a good tackle, defensive tackle, but you're a great guard.
Yeah.
So that's like, you look at Dion, you know, two different sports, but Dion liked football, but he loved baseball.
Mm-hmm.
So I like playing guard, but like Dion said, he could live without football. He could play baseball. He loved base. I love playing defensive tackle, defensive end. I didn't care. It kept me on the field, but I almost didn't want to play in the North-South game for that crap. And then to go there and we practicing and I'm playing guard, doing something that I don't want to do.
Yeah.
Guys is playing D tackle. I told coach, I said, yo, I'm better than them. Let me play D tackle. And I said it right to the dudes' faces in practice. I'm better than you.
Right.
That was the arrogance on the level, not even saying about I'm first, not that first team, you, whatever.
But just playing ability, right?
Yeah. I just knew that I was a better defensive alignment than they were. I mean, you could have picked another guard and had me play D tackle, but he just on.
Now, with that, you mentioned going down to Virginia State here. I know just talking to you, what I thought was real cool, and I know it became more of a thing now in the last few years here. All your visits was to HBCUs. Was that by design or
no? They weren't all. They weren't all.
Oh, they weren't. Okay, I take that back then. Okay.
No, I did an official with Rutgers. I did. That was my only. Well, you figure at the time it was only 2 D1 football teams, and what they D1 in back then? Monmouth. Trying to, if Monmouth was AA, I'm trying to think were they AA in the 90s and 80s. You had Rutgers. Rutgers is the only Division I football program in the state. I did do a field trip because it was the whole dang on the seniors went up to Montclair State.
Okay.
And I said, our crowds at the Montclair High games are bigger than Montclair State games. That I can't. I mean, no disrespect to nobody. This ain't for me. It's too close to home. I visited IUP, Indiana University of Pennsylvania, and I also visited Westchester. I like Westchester. You know, PSAC school. I liked it. But you know, Montclair is a melting pot. You know, you have all ethnicities, you know, races here in Montclair. But one thing you learn is when you go to higher education, you see less of us. And I never was in the classroom in Montclair and was like, I'm the only person of color in class. You know, it was very diverse. And when you go away to school, you know, the diversity changes, you know, greatly. You're talking about going to Westchester, you know, with Black population might be under 5%. And I don't want to be walking to class and, you know, it goes a Black person, you know, and
the infamous head nod, right? To the only person.
You know, what's up, brother? And you know, and my cousins were HBCU graduates or attendees at the time when I was in school. I visited, took an official visit to Dell State. They actually recruited me. I forgot Murray State, but I wasn't going out to Murray State. I didn't think of, you know, as on Ohio, I wasn't thinking about going out there. And OU, Ohio University, I wasn't trying to go out there. Visited Delaware State. I like the campus. It was in the country, right off the highway, but it was nothing out there other than I visited Hampton unofficially, but they didn't want to give me any money. I liked Howard, but it was in the city, and I wanted to like have some grass around, you know.
Yeah.
And I visited Virginia State. Went to Virginia State. I was like, I just fell in love with the vibe.
Okay.
They weren't a great team. I believe they were like 5-5 the year before I got there. They went to a championship game 2 years prior, and they lost in the CIAA championship to Winston-Salem. Ended up happening was when I was being recruited, they went through a coaching transition from Coach Moody to Coach Anderson. Coach Anderson was a Richmond public schools legend out of John Marshall High School. Recently retired, ended up coming on as Virginia State head coach. We were trash. We were putrid. We were 3-7 my freshman year. But I thought about it, transferring. You didn't have the portal the way how you have it now.
Right.
But I love the school.
I was about to say football, academics, the social life, the girls, everything, man.
My parents were like, "Yo, you leaves here, you better find somewhere to go where they're gonna give you some money because we could pay for you to go to school, but you want to take a loan or something now too." Like, I think I'm gonna stay here. And things turned around. But the whole people have a mixed opinion on Deion, Coach Prime. They feel he I don't know if people remember how Jackson State was prior to Coach Prime. Look at the old Jackson State, not the Walter Payton Jackson State, but the 2015, the 2016, the 2018 Jackson State. Oh, he is an opportunist. And guess what? Everyone benefited from his opportunism.
That's right.
Everyone. From the grounds crew to the cafeteria workers to the provost, principal, the president, everyone benefited. The community benefited. If it was a hotel or restaurants. He had the largest home attendance. He had the largest home attendance in FCS football. He averaged like 52,000 people at home. He sold the stadium out. So, you talk about the Prime effect. I mean, he changed dynamics of not just SWAC football, not just HBCU football. He's impacted Power 5 football. You got Nick Saban, the same guy he was doing Aflac commercials with him. One of the, I wouldn't say greatest coaches, but just a winning coach. It threw shade at him. I mean, Nick Saban throwing shade at you? So you're talking about FCS versus Power 5. You want to say he stole a player from you?
Yeah.
So that just shows you, how his impact on HBCU sports, not just football. I'm sorry, not just HBCU sports, the HBCU experience.
Yes.
He didn't just go there to coach. He brought his son there. He brought his daughter there. If he didn't feel the school was good enough for them to attend, he wouldn't have had his daughter playing sports there, his son, coaching his son. So, I'm thankful that Deion did what he was able to, to accomplish, to turn that program around. You figure the only game that you would see HBCU football on a major TV station was the Bayou Classic, which is the weekend of Thanksgiving. Grambling versus Southern, and that's because of the late great, Eddie Robinson.
Mhm.
He is the godfather of HBCU football by far. But if you look at, again, the coaches, weren't being paid that well. He changed the whole outlook on HBCU athletics. I got a real good friend, a real good frat brother. He's the head coach now currently at Morgan State, Coach Damon Wilson. He's a Bowie graduate. He coached at Bowie State for many years, won some CIAA championships, went on the playoffs, and he moved up. Deion, I'm sure you heard him say it. It's two things going to happen in your life. You're either going to be terminated, or you're going to elevate.
Mhm.
And he's definitely elevated, HBCU football, and now he's going to win at Colorado, but that's Pac-12 football. It's a big difference between Pac-12 and SWAC. That's why he said told them guys, he bringing his luggage.
Yeah, and it's Louis.
His Louis. So he's got a vision. You hear that, oh, he can't coach football. Other than the head ball coach, which is Steve Spurrier, you have very few coaches calling an offense, a head coach calling an offense or defense. These guys got assistant head coaches, they got coordinators. You guys, like Saban, he's not, it'd be days he might not even be in practice. So, the head football coach now is not an X's and O's guy. He's an administrator, he's a facilitator, he's a fixer. So, look at Saban, he was a DB coach, and then he went, and that was his forte. And then you go on and, he's at LSU, of course, and he went to Miami, and nobody going to talk about Nick Saban was taking L's.
Yeah.
He fired him. Nobody talk about that. You talk about, Deion, can't coach, but look at Lane Kiffin.
Yeah, how many jobs he done, head coach jobs he done had, right?
Yeah, figure he got fired on the tarmac. But they still keep giving him jobs, and he can say off his father, off Monty, and his father was never a great head coach, nothing like that. But I definitely would not trade my HBCU, experience for the world. And going back to what I said earlier, I just turned around, looked to my right, looked to my left, and I'm like, I was in class, and I was like, it's a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
Surrounded by us. So coming out of high school, you talk to your teammates, you talk to your classmates. I'm going to HBCU, and they're like, they still got black colleges, and yeah, they still have black colleges because in our parents' era, my mom couldn't have even enrolled in a North Carolina school. You look at Alabama, that didn't get integrated until, what was that, the 60s? And you start talking about Jesse Jackson. Everybody knows Jesse Jackson, went to A&T. But he transferred to North Carolina A&T. He's an Illinois boy, he was recruited as an athlete. He wanted to play quarterback. But in the early 60s, they weren't, the Big Ten wasn't going to have no black quarterback. So he went to A&T and played quarterback, So the SEC didn't have black players. And later, you look at, and the telltale sign is the NFL Hall of Fame. The majority of players that were in the Hall of Fame from the 60s, 70s, and 80s were HBCU graduates.
Yeah. How's the competition for you? I mean, I know you played at a high level from Little League on up. So how was the competition for you in college?
Well, you had some programs that was a little bush league, meaning that, they just had some guys with some jerseys on. And you had some really good teams. I played against a Winston-Salem team that had a tailback 4 years that ran from 13, 14, 1,700 yards. A guy by the name of Richard Huntley got drafted by the Steelers. He was a back.
Yeah.
I mean, if you don't get him before he get going, you gonna go for a ride or he gonna outrun you. Norfolk State had a guy by the name of James Rowe, ended up getting drafted, played down there with the Dolphins. He caught several passes from Dan Marino.
Mm-hmm.
Then you got a guy who I played against before I even talked about my school, a guy I saw play, and I was like, God, I'm glad I play offense. I mean, I play defense. I don't play offense. This guy was a D tackle, one-man wrecking crew.
Yeah.
Same thing that happened with me happened with him. He played D tackle. He ended up getting drafted, signed with the Cowboys. He had an incident that happened down there in Dallas with Michael Irvin. Ended up getting traded to the Jets. Guy by the name of Everett McIver. He played center and guard in the league, but he was an All-American D tackle out of Elizabeth City State University. I played with a guy drafted out of Virginia State. Had a pretty great career. He got drafted by the Cowboys. Ended up getting traded to the Jets. Played several years with the Jets. Ended up retiring with the Miami Dolphins. Guy by the name of James Brown. He called me his little speed bump. So James was like 6'7", 315.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he played the right tackle. Like I was out there. I was one of them, you know, they got those remote control dummies.
Yes.
He was, you know, like by the time I put my arm out, he already had me grabbed up. And once he put his hands on you, he said, Lenny, I'm
Where you want to go?
I'm about to give you the jumper cable. But yeah, we're friends to this day. He's back in you know, in and out of Miami, and he's a Philly guy.
Okay.
But I talk to him all the time. You know, when he would come into town down in Petersburg, you know, I go out. You know, he just took care of us, man. Real good guy.
Yeah.
But yeah, HBCU football is competitive, more competitive today than it has ever been. And again, I can't tell you. I'm glad I made that decision to go to Virginia State. Not taking nothing away from any other HBCUs. Not taking nothing away from Rutgers, which actually recruited me. And they never gave me an offer.
Mm-hmm.
They did recruit me. And then I just watched it the season, you know, was going by. It just kind of like fell back.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know. I don't know if I would be where I am today without the Rutgers experience. And
yeah,
not taking nothing away from Rutgers. You know, that was Big East football back then.
Mm-hmm.
But you had BC. Well, first of all, I'm sorry, you had the U. Syracuse, Virginia Tech, BC. And you had like Rutgers at the bottom.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember when I went for my official visit, that was Rutgers who played their big games at Giant Stadium. And they played Kentucky. And Kentucky beat the brakes off of them. Kentucky is a basketball school.
Yeah.
I'm like, man, they got here getting destroyed by Kentucky. Man, that's the Bluegrass State. They don't have no football. I mean, they do, but like, okay.
Nah, I got you.
But you know, I remember to this day, I remember that some of the guys that we were in the touchdown club, I think the name of it is, at the it's like you overlook the stadium, you know, at Giant Stadium.
Giant Stadium, okay.
I remember one of the guys when I took the visit was like Dave, Darrell Eldon and I went out there. It was a dude named Dave Sanders out of Franklin. He's a cool dude. And Lou Solomon.
Lou Solomon, yeah.
Yeah, I played with him in North-South game. But just thinking about Dave ended up going there. He played guard. But I was just like, man, y'all, you got the you know it's big time football, but y'all, I'd rather be, you know, the big fish in the pond than be a shark in the ocean. Because you just getting this, you out there just taking L's.
Yeah,
you playing, you flying, going to these big schools, but you're getting mollywop.
Yeah. Nah, definitely. Question as far as when that clock ultimately hit all 4 zeros here, man. Like, how was that feeling? Like, hey, this is over. I gotta get on with my life here as far as at the college level. Like when you knew this was it. How was that feeling for you?
That's one of the things I regret more than anything. I wish I stayed in school. I wish I stayed and did a grad assistantship with Virginia State, or even shopped around for grad schools to be a GA at.
Okay.
I did have opportunity to do it. I just didn't do it. I didn't think about coaching. I thought about, let me just go ahead and become a teacher. And I want to say the starting salary, Petersburg, Richmond area was like $23,000 a teacher. But I mean, at that time, I think at my apartment with my roommate was like $450. So $23,000. Oh, you'd be all right. You could afford that. I wasn't trying to go out and buy no 300ZX, nothing like that.
Right.
But I was like, man, I talked to my parents. My parents were like, man, come on. I ended up applying in East Orange. My first contract was $35,403. Remember like it was yesterday. But you make more money, up north, but the cost of living's higher. But I do wish I did a GA, and I would have been able to pay for my school, and I would have had a master's at 23, 24 years old.
Yeah. Sports, like, what has it given you that sticks with you to this day?
Go back to football. That was my my love. It's team sport. Just being a team player. Wrestling was a hobby.
Okay.
And I learned probably more from wrestling in 3 years about life than I learned from playing football. And what I learned from wrestling is you're in a meet, right? So the meet, you got, the weight classes, 03, 12, 19, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 52, 60, 71, 89, and heavyweight. You got those different weight classes. And the points are added up by decisions, or pins. You could lose your match, but as a team, you win the meet. Everybody's, clapping, everyone's happy, but you went out there, you got pinned.
Yeah.
And everybody's trying to pick you up because we won. But knowing that you lost, it's a horrible feeling. But let's look at it another way. You out there wrestling Bloomfield, everybody getting pinned. Then you get your match, you go out there, you pin the dude, you stand up,
you do your thing, yeah.
You run back over to your teammates, and everybody got the long face.
I'm
like, what y'all sad for? I won, but we lost the match. So I won. I won. So I look at it like I never did that. But what I'm saying, it's 4 different scenarios. You got a win in your match and lose the meet. You can lose your match, lose the whole meet. You can win your match and also win the whole meet. And then you say to yourself, win-win, lose-win, win, loss, which one do you feel most happy about? Of course, you winning your match and the team winning the match. You know, the team win the meet, you know, you win your match. It's all great.
Yes.
But what about when you win and the team loses? So it's the same way with stats with football. Am I gonna have 10 solo tackles and 3 sacks and then lose the game? And I got my name in the paper. I feel like I should brag. Of course, I should have sacks. I mean, Joe was just or tackles because we getting ran up and down the field.
Mm-hmm.
So now you start talking about playing defensive line. With wrestling, I've recognized I'm playing a game, but we're gonna isolate this game right here between me and you. And that's what wrestling provided me in the football. It made the game a microcosm. It was me versus you.
Yeah.
So I didn't worry about what was going on. If everybody do their job, we're gonna win. I'm gonna do my job. I'm gonna try my best to do my job. And if you're struggling over there, as much as I want to tell you what to do and want to help you, you got to do it on your own in some way or some fashion. And I'm not gonna look down on you if that guy today is better than you, because that happens.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So, you
know,
know,
a lot of lessons.
So my goal in life is, you know, I have 2 kids. I have a 12-year-old daughter, 7-year-old son. My goal, my daughter, she's in the track now, which is an individual sport.
Mm-hmm.
If you have a child that is in the sports, I would strongly suggest them to at least try a team sport and try an individual sport. They might not be lifelong competitors in both sports, but have them experience a win as an individual and a loss as a teammate and a loss as an individual. Because you look at boxing, you get knocked out, you can't be mad at the corner. Like, yeah, when you knock somebody out, you celebrate as with your corner, but you can't be mad at them when you lose.
Mm-hmm.
So that's how I want my daughter. She does the 100, the 200. I want her to also do, which is still a team sport, a relay. She does the relay, but I want her to, if it's basketball or softball, or now the kids again, this is another COVID activity. You know, COVID brought out.
About to say pickleball, man.
Oh, flag football for the girls. That's
yes.
what COVID brought out.
Yeah.
So now you got girls. They got the Essex County League. They got the Passaic County. You know,
mm-hmm.
So now because it was after my era, but it was under Coach Marion Bell. You know, he had and also Al Majid Hutchins. They had female players.
Mm-hmm.
The team last year, the team that won the state 2 years ago, they had a female player. She actually kicked the field goal at the that game. What's that game called? The Barringer.
Thanksgiving game? Or?
Yeah, it has a name to it. Iron Ball. Whatever.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I don't know the name. I don't know.
They gave it a good. They had, because just like the
Shabazz Soul Bowl.
Like Shabazz, the Soul Bowl. The Soul Bowl. Everybody knows the Soul Bowl, But yeah, no, I'm sorry. She wasn't a field goal. She scored a touchdown. Jessica, young lady by the name of Jessica. She scored a touchdown, not a field goal. But I ain't taking nothing away from nobody. But football is not the same as we play. You can't leave with your helmet at all. They'll eject you now. But
there's all kind of stuff going on. Yeah.
Yeah.
Rule wise. Yeah.
Like concussion, we got the smelling salt. Y'all hitting. Yeah, now you ready to play.
Yeah.
Whereas now you get a concussion, you're gonna miss 3 games if they let you come back.
Mm-hmm.
So, this flag football is where young ladies need to be playing. Girls don't need to be playing no football because, one shot to the gut, she might mess around and
Yeah.
might not be able to
Mm-hmm.
bear a child or something like that, mess her insides up.
Yeah. Now, with this, I know I like to put people on the spot with some random questions, Lenny. You cool with that?
Yeah, come on with it.
Cool. Obviously, being a Jersey guy here, you prefer the Parkway or the Turnpike?
Parkway,
Anderson Park or Glenfield Park?
Glenfield Park.
How come?
It's my neighborhood.
Okay.
Yeah.
When the kid's not around, no school going on, anything else going on, what do you like to do?
Stay on I got a couple of bicycles. I like to cycle.
Mm-hmm.
That's a good vice I have. I have a couple of bikes that it costs just as much as cars.
Okay.
That's my couch. That's my therapy.
Okay.
I have a guilty pleasure. I like a single malt or a scotch or some bourbon, cigar.
Okay.
In moderation.
Oh, no, definitely. Madden or Tecmo Bowl?
Madden, so many different, options you got, but Tecmo Bowl is, when I was in Virginia State, we had the 21-point rule, Joker scored 21-0, you off the sticks, you talking about that's Nintendo, game, man,
Yeah, blow the cartridge.
Yeah, but Genesis was what? Genesis was the game changer, Genesis changed the game.
Yeah.
Of course, down the line, PlayStation, PS came out.
Yeah, it's crazy. I try to stay away from that stuff now, but my wife just bought me an Xbox. I haven't opened it. She asked me the other day. She's like, "Have you opened it up yet?" I was like, "I'm still talking to you. That's why I didn't open it up. Because if I open it up, we might not be conversating as much."
I got my son PS5 for Christmas, and I got him the games that I know that he likes. And I did not buy 2K basketball, or I did not buy a Madden because I know if I do that, I'm gonna have to get my own unit.
Yeah. So this Xbox is still in the box. I haven't opened it up, man.
I got one of my boys. We all cycle together, and we, he's not into the cigars and he don't do the drinking thing like that. So I'm like, I'll be joking. I'm like, yo, what you at home playing? PS5 right now. You got your headset on right now. You over there.
Yeah.
But it's that because you figure now it's a sport now. They looking at
esports shit.
That's a competitive thing right there.
Yeah. Now I know it's crazy because I showed a video, I think it was Mario Brothers to my daughter. I was like, "This is what we used to play." She would say, "I can't see the people." Like, right. So so she's messing around with that, basically feeling bad.
I got my son. I got him an Atari game. It's got like 50 games on it. I mean, 50 classic games.
Okay.
But the graphics are still great. They're nowhere.
Okay.
You figure those graphics back then were probably 0.5 bit. They were like
something crazy. Nah. Wellmont or Claridge?
Oh, Wellmont. I like the sticky floors. The Wellmont floors.
Montclair High, Virginia State.
Virginia State.
Okay.
I just that's a whole nother conversation we could talk about, but I just started coming around the game. Never, no bitterness towards anyone or the last game against Randolph, nothing like that. I just I look at it like it's no disrespect. I ain't capping on nobody. But when's the last time, Michael Jordan has been to United Center? When's the last time, Isaiah Thomas, been to Indiana? You do have some guys that, and I'm not throwing a shot, but there are some guys that still dwell. You know, my wife shouldn't, ex-wife or my girlfriends or lady friends, my kids should not be hearing me talk about a story from December 1st, 1990.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I shouldn't be telling this story to them like it just happened yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I do know from when we had our conversation, you said you didn't want to bring it up.
No, I said I will help. I know you guys. Y'all probably talk about that nauseum. So but we here. Let's talk about it, man.
I do recognize that everyone doesn't share the same sentiment. And I also recognize at 18 years old and 17 years old, I didn't have empathy.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't able to see how much of an impact the game had on people.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't able to see that some people fell off a cliff from a game.
Mm-hmm.
I compartmentalized it. That was a part of my life, and that's over. I don't blame anybody. I don't blame the teammates. I don't blame the coaches. I don't blame the refs.
Mm-hmm.
Something called adversity. You know, I have my testimony about it. You know, I remember when we had the ball in the last possession of it was like a fumble. And they were driving. We got the ball back, and coach decided to down the football.
Mm-hmm.
And as a quarterback, I'm sure you could tell me, how often do you practice downing a football?
Not at all.
So you figure the quarterback the center snaps the ball to the quarterback, and you got to take a step back or maybe two. So in case if the lineman drives the center back, you don't, get pancake sandwiched, by that, line trying to force a fumble, So you want to take a knee, but you might take 5 yards, 7 yards per knee.
Mm-hmm.
So you take a knee on first, second, third down. I don't remember the down and distance on that fourth down when punted the football, but it wasn't 4th and 2.
Right.
Let's say if it was 4th and 12. Whatever the ball was snapped from, I know that the young man from Randolph got a fair catch on the 20-yard line.
Mm-hmm.
So you figure on average, the center is going to snap the ball 12 to 13 yards to the punter. And Pont was the punter. All right, so let's do some math. If Pont is back 13 yards and he receives the long snap and he punts the ball and the ball goes to the 20-yard line. All right, let's do some math.
Mm-hmm.
This is basic math that we got to think about. The ball goes to the 20. And he's back 13 yards. So the ball it's a 10-yard punt.
Mm-hmm. Right.
It's a net 10. So that means technically he might have punted the ball 23 yards from where he received the ball. So that means he must have punted the ball from like, not the end zone, but the ball must have been snapped from, barely got past the line of scrimmage.
Mhm.
I don't think punted the ball that short since maybe B League.
Yeah. Yeah.
It wasn't windy. The field goal was longer than the punt.
Mm.
And then it was a direct punt.
Right.
I was in the huddle. I wasn't in the huddle. I'm not on a punt team. I was on the sideline. But I don't remember if punt was instructed to punt the ball to the sideline and let it roll. He punted the ball, and the young man, Billy something, he caught the football and fair caught it. He didn't if we try to run, the time would have ran out. But it was 3 seconds. If you punt the ball, the clock starts once the ball is snapped. So you only had 3 seconds run off the clock from a 10-yard punt. So we got to go back on the field. We're in the huddle. I say, yo, we got to rush. We got to get a rush. We got to block this kick. Man.
Yeah.
Even if we got to rough them and they move the ball up,
It's still time.
half the distance. It's still half the distance. So he'd have to kick the ball with a dead clock. I'd rather have that happen. I mean, even if we would have jumped off sides, come to think, trying to, time the snap. I look at the film and I see I rush, I don't get in, but I put my hands up and it was right down the middle. And college football, high school football, you got wide hashes, whereas with pros, you got narrow hash because they want to keep the game in the middle of the field. But even if you punt the ball towards the hash, outside the hash,
that's when they place it at, right?
Yeah.
To that hash, right? But it's crazy. Like you said, we 16, 17, 18 years old. You're not thinking all that, you know what I mean? Like
even when we had 3 seconds or whatever, he could have took the ball and ran.
What was being said in the huddle before the punt? Do you even recall y'all talking amongst yourselves here?
No, we didn't. We thought we were gonna run the timeout.
Okay.
On offense.
Okay.
And then people ran onto the field.
Yeah, that's right.
And that's when they told everybody, we still have 3 seconds. Remember what I said? There's still 3 seconds.
Mm-hmm.
So they have everybody get everybody back off the field, and you got 10,000 plus people.
Yeah, a lot of things going on.
You got people in the end zones. You got people on our sidelines, on their sideline. So you put 3 seconds back on the clock after time has run out, but you to punt the ball and you still got 3 seconds.
Mm-hmm.
So I just remember he kicked the field goal and went in, and I just, walked off the field, You can see the footage. You see the guys on the sideline, on the field, all down. You see Randolph, they're hugging and cheering. I'm going to say this to you. We were outcoached. We were obedient. We did what we were supposed to do. If Pont was a renegade and said, man, I ain't listening to coach, I'm going to run this clock out, maybe he would have got blackballed, not received any honors, but he would have got a state ring and a jacket. Mm-hmm. And he would have been the man. But Coach Davies might not have liked it.
Mm-hmm. Now, with Coach Davies here, obviously everything that he's done, with young men and women or what have you here. Like his style was more or less like, we're gonna do it the Coach Davies way. Pretty much how y'all played just throughout your time with him.
Oh.
Okay.
Yeah. So he came from he
was
came
like Butler or something like
the
that.
Butler,
right?
yeah. And the offense that we ran was pretty much, it was a mixture of what he did up there. You know, they ran a wing.
Mm-hmm.
And I ain't taking nothing away from a wing T football program, but we could talk candidly. The wing, the wing athlete's a little different than, pro set, offense. It's, you had some athletes, man. And the I backfield allows people to be great.
Mm-hmm.
We played conservative, man.
Mm-hmm.
And not to mention, we gave up 19 points. We didn't have when we beat Morris Knowles, we beat them 42-21. Too many points.
Mm-hmm.
Too many points. So, looking now at it, this is probably the most I've talked about it, but I never felt robbed. I felt that we should have scored more, or we should have not allowed him to. We couldn't stop it. We couldn't stop the pass. Mike Groh went to UVA. He's a good quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
I have no problem at all saying this is a little arrogant. But again, like I said earlier, the strength in our defense was the line. Our secondary wasn't our strong point. And it's nothing taking it away from them. But if you look at the video, like you look at the film, you got DBs with their back to the ball. What the fuck coach is that?
Mm-hmm.
That's not what they did on their own. Like.
Now, did you and Mike, did y'all ever talk about like the North-South? I mean, I don't know, did you ever cross paths and say what's up? Or because I think he played in the North-South game, I'm assuming.
Yeah. He played.
Did y'all ever talk?
Yeah, we talked.
Okay.
Also, like we did a Star Ledger luncheon or dinner or something.
I'm just saying, like face to face, y'all spoken.
Yeah. Ain't nothing against.
No, totally not. Totally not. I just thought as an athlete.
We never was no pop, no pop and crap and nothing like that.
Yeah.
But you can talk about the ghost of Coach Bauer, all that stuff. Man, they just scored more points than us, man.
That's right.
You know.
Can I ask about just in general a couple of things regarding that? Like, how was it just the atmosphere at school that week, man?
The hallway was dead.
No, I'm talking about before the game. Like,
leading up to the game?
Leading up. Like, how was it just, it had to be just.
We were, I mean.
Imagine that now. Imagine with all this stuff going on.
And then on top of that, we didn't have a pep rally, nothing like that going to playoffs.
Okay.
I'm sure that probably would be the trend now.
Mm-hmm.
People be going IG live and all that stuff. But so you asked, I said I love Montclair. I'm happy to be back here as a Montclair resident.
Mm-hmm.
But you talk about athletics and academics.
Right.
I was, I qualified, scholarship. I wasn't a prop, nothing like that. I had, decent grades. I wasn't an honor roll student every quarter.
Mm-hmm.
I'll never forget my guidance counselor, lady by the name of Miss Wheaton, Burl Wheaton. She was a sister. Whenever, college recruiting coordinator, coaches came to see me, they would go to Coach Davies. He's a guidance counselor. They'll go to his office And I'd get the call or the loud, or the all call in the classroom.
Mhm.
From intercom, Lenny Watkins or James Watkins, whichever one they came in, downstairs to the Unit 2 office. I knew that was about. And I'll never forget, I was my senior year, and you go meet with your guidance counselor, and Miss Wheaton is asking me, what are your plans upon after graduating high school?
Mhm.
I'm looking at your grades. You could probably go to a local state school. Are you interested in going to military or going to trade school?
Mm.
Like, you must stay in this office and you must not know squat about this school or the athletic program here at Montclair High School, because, woman, I'm getting called on every day, multiple periods a day, by college coaches to go play football. I'm getting offered full scholarships, partial scholarships, whatever, so be it. And you asking me about my college or my military thoughts upon graduating college. Asking me if I fill out any financial aid forms, and that's all I'm going to say.
Yeah.
I could have said some real foul stuff to that woman. It's her fault that she don't know who I am. Again, you got something called humility. I could have said, I'm an all-state wrestler, all-state football player. You don't know who I am? But I didn't do that.
Yeah. Yeah.
No.
Yeah. I appreciate you sharing this here. I'm not done with the putting you on the spot over here. If you want to just jump back into that real quick, but I appreciate, because again, I know I said I would leave. I know.
So with that being said, man, I'm like, this is what Montclair is about. So if I was just a regular,
I know what you mean. I know what you mean.
Regular student, if my name was whatever, Matthew Williams, whatever, so be it. Just a regular Black boy. This is the treatment I would get. You give me the same treatment as him. That's the treatment you gave me. Lady, I'm the man here. I'm the man in this building. I could walk in this hallway and everybody know who I am. That's all I'm going to say. You don't know who I am, and I'm under your fine care.
Yeah.
Whereas Coach Davies will walk up there and pull my transcript, and you and him probably have never had a conversation about James Watkins, student athlete.
Yeah. Nah, that says a lot. I mean, and again, I think regardless of the population, and you still have a job to do and everything else here. So to know your students,
to
know them all around. Right.
And then you start talking about just the athletic program, just the football program. I have no problem at all saying this because I'm a grown man. But Coach Davies, well, you do notice it's probably the same at Immaculate, which is it's a microcosm of school. But Coach Davies always spoke to me, because I was an intricate part of the program. But I want to say, like Coach Labita, he was a math teacher, and I see him in the hallway after season. He said nothing to me. He never called me in and be like, "Hey, let me talk to you about this," nothing like that.
Or just to check in, right? Yeah, that goes a long way. That goes a long way.
So, like, even when I came home from college, I'll go up to the stadium, up to the field and watch the practice, whatever. And this is a good thing that when I playing in the North-South game, I had an opportunity to meet the South head coach, which ended up becoming Montclair High School football coach after Coach Davies resigned. That was a guy by the name of Len Rivers.
Mm-hmm.
You know, one of the, I don't know if he was the first, but I know he was one of the first Black coaches to win a state championship down in Somerset.
Mm-hmm.
And Coach Rivers coached some great players down there in Franklin.
Yeah.
And he came to Montclair. Unfortunately, he came at a bad time. At the year after we lost the state championship,
Mm-hmm.
He took possession of a team that didn't bounce back. That was George Marks,
Right.
Jay Curry, their senior year. They didn't do well.
Mm-hmm.
They had a good team. They just didn't do well. I think he did 2 seasons and they went another route. That's when they hired Peter.
Mm-hmm.
First Black head coach, football coach in Montclair. Montclair had a lot of coaches.
Right.
He didn't do well. I wanted to see him excel. He didn't do it for the money. The guy was front office guy with the New Jersey Nets.
Mm-hmm.
He was making money.
Mm-hmm.
And he was up in age. I want to say he may have been he was an old man. So he might have been in his 60s, maybe mid 60s somewhere. He was definitely older than my parents.
Mm-hmm.
He was grandfather age. But yeah, it didn't work out. But I wanted him to. I wanted to see the team bounce back, and they didn't bounce back. Plus, he had some coaches who were from the Jack Davies era that I'm sure didn't want to buy into his philosophy.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah,
you know how that goes.
Oh yeah,
they don't want to. We're fine. We'll rather have you lose than help you win,
which is crazy.
Yeah.
Which is crazy.
Yeah, crabs in the barrel philosophy, and it wasn't even Black coaches. It was.
Gotcha. Mm-hmm.
It wasn't even a race thing.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't us trying to hold us back.
Mm-hmm.
It was them holding us back.
Mm-hmm. Nah, I got it, man. I got it. Nah, thanks for being candid because I know about it and I appreciate it, man. Wanted to ask, coaching or playing?
Playing.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Best game, or you can even say match that you've ever had in your life. What's something that might stick out?
Best
at any level. At any level.
I'm staying in high school right now. I'll say my best game I ever played was we played at Passaic. And like I said to you, Little League, they always had a team. Freshman year, we lost to them. My sophomore year, when I was varsity, we lost. Junior year, we lost. Senior year, they had a good team. Actually, again, this cycling world is like, it brings me back to all these guys I used to talk trash to. A guy by the name of Earl. He was head coach. He was their leader. He was the quarterback for Passaic for Indy. Earl, he's around here. Him and Sean are pretty good friends.
Okay.
And I was like on fire that game. I think I must have drank from the same water bottle like LT or something. I don't know what the hell happened, but I like 7 solos, three assists, forced fumble, and like 3 sacks.
Mm-hmm.
And I think we beat them like 26-0, but I was just on fire. My Bergen Catholic game, I think that was the game that I realized that I was good. I realized I could dominate. I went against their best offensive lineman, kicked his ass. I remember like they ran like a toss, and I ran down lane, and their sideline. And I remember Coach Stengel, he got up in my face, was like, "Y'all stop this mother." And then I just was like, "Y'all can't stop me." Y'all can't stop me.
Nah, that's good stuff, man.
Yeah. We beat them in Oregon. We beat them up there.
And up there is
you don't get no calls.
Yeah. Yeah.
calls.
Mm-hmm.
And we
Yeah.
beat them up there. And that was then they had like a supposedly like a great team.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Speaking of teams, best team you ever been on, like in your life? Any team sticks out?
That 1990 team. That was
19.
probably, yeah, 1990 team.
Okay.
Good team. Then I would say my 95 CIAA championship Virginia State team. We were like number 2 in the league, 2 in the nation, and on run defense, on rushes, on rushes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that we averaging like 2.5 yards per rush or something like that.
Yeah. You may have answered this already. I'm pretty sure you did, but a game you like to have back?
My last 2 games. Last game of high school, last game in college.
Ouch, yeah.
Both games, I didn't leave nothing on the field.
Okay.
That's
the way to go out.
I didn't leave nothing on the field. I just needed a 5th quarter.
Okay.
I need a 5th quarter.
How do you define the word made, the phrase made it, but someone who should have made it?
Someone who should have made it. That ain't a problem to answer that question. Erskine Ponton.
Yeah.
He should have made it. Life itself is a series of tests. You just don't you just don't know how you want to pan out when you enter into the classroom. When you open up that door, should I have went left? Should I have gone right? Did I open the right door? I genuinely believe I've made some pretty good decisions in life. I've also made some decisions that that if I had to do over again, I would not have done. And I'm sure that Ibn, you could say the same.
Right.
I'm sure that Lamont can say the same. Erskine. But I'm gonna say this to you: as much as great of a parents that we have, we're the master of our own fate.
Ultimately, yes.
And our parents could say, "You need to do this. You shouldn't do that. You should do this. I wouldn't do this if I were you." But those decisions, our parents equip us with, skills, but we have to make the decision, really on our own. And I just wish that that some decisions or a decision that that was made could have been possibly going differently. Full of mine.
Yeah.
It's a saying that that I'm sure you've heard before. Every sinner got a pass. And they say every sinner. Every saint got a past. Every sinner got a future. So I do believe that we all have opportunity to turn our life around. I know it's fictional character. You look at Eddie King, Jr.
I got 5 heartbeats. Yeah.
He was the man, and he needed an addiction to humble him. Everybody doesn't get the opportunity to be humbled. I'm glad that I had my humbling experience. And my humbling experience occurred between my It happened my junior year in football. Why did I become the player that I ended up transforming from my from 4th grade through 11th grade? The transition that occurred wasn't athletically. It was emotionally. I had some serious character flaws. I said to you, when I was named first team All-State, I was surprised. And the reason why I was surprised, I wasn't shocked. I was shocked my junior year. Going from each year at the football banquet, they announced the upcoming season's captains. And it's usually 3 or 4 players. Usually, you got defensive player, offensive player. You know how which way. You never have 3 offensive cap. You got to have somebody on defense. So, never forget, you had the banquet. It's the moment you're all waiting for. They're going to announce the captains. And the captains are voted on by the players and with the approval of coaches, the head coach. So Gary announced the captains. Yeah, I know I'm going to be a captain, because I started offense my sophomore year, started defense my senior year. We got some guys that's graduating. I know I'm going to play both ways. I'm playing offense and defense. I know I'm going to be a captain.
Yeah.
So they announced the captains. The captains are Dara Elder, Lamont Ponton, and Jason Runkey. I've never talked about this except to my daughter. And the night of the banquet with my real good, close female friend, not a girlfriend, but we're really good friends. She was a captain she was a cheerleader, lived right around the corner from me. My heart went to my stomach, and I crapped out my heart. So the banquet, I remember I rode with my mom because my dad came from work, and he got to the banquet, and at the end of the banquet, man, I kept my face composed, but I rode home with Stacy, and when we were leaving out the Robin Hood Inn, the thing over behind Montclair Estate, where we was at the banquet at. She just was like, pointing at me. Started laughing.
Yeah.
Yo, man, we rode in the car, man. I freaking bawled out like a baby, man. And Stacy said to me, Lenny, I told you all that arrogant stuff you be doing, they don't like you. Your teammates don't like you. I remember we had a football meeting, and at my junior year, captains were Brandy Brandon, Matt DeAndre, and Nikki Kemp. We had a team meeting about topic was something about just like coming together as a team. And I'm like, man, we up here talking about this crap, man. Who left y'all in charge? You know what I'm saying? I'm better than all y'all. You try to tell me on how to be not me, but each other about being a teammate. Y'all need to work hard and get like me. Not a good idea. So with all that being said, in the words of Teddy Pendergrass, the whole world's laughing at you now. Because they were clapping for the captains. And nobody came to me. It'd been after the
like you should have been, or why not?
Like, yo, I voted for you, man.
Right.
I didn't ask for a vote count. I just And that's a bad feeling, man, for you to not be liked by people that you around every day.
Mm-hmm.
They don't tell you they don't like you. Even better, they show you.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So I said from now on, man, I got to work on being a better athlete, a better teammate, man.
Yeah.
And you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna show these guys. I'm gonna show them. I'm gonna show them on the field. I'm gonna just chill.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why, to this day, like I never felt vain about, like Ibn, you called me up, I want to interview you. Yeah, I know you want to interview me. I know you want to talk about how good I was.
Mm-hmm.
I've never, to this day, man. I mean, I joke around. I say, if Montclair doesn't have a Hall of Fame, but if Montclair has a Hall of Fame, I don't expect to be in the first, second class. But if I don't go in the Hall of Fame, sooner than later, I'm gonna burn that mother freaking down. I know, I mean, that was some arrogant stuff. If I felt like,
Mm-hmm.
You're the man. I mean, again, we start talking about like Montclair High School football. My name is up there. But we talk about Montclair football, people who played football for Montclair, I could be in a conversation. But we start talking about just Montclair football. My name should be mentioned there. I do, I look at, like, younger than me, the cook, Ron and Rick, George Stanley, he's younger than me. He went to UVA, he bought out of UVA. I mean, he's, good guy. I mean, the Penix boy, went down to Rutgers.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, defensive end, he had good numbers. I'm gonna talk about, Rick went to Rutgers. They wanted him to play, fullback. He wanted to play tail, but he goes to Carolina, he excels there. I mean, Jay Curry, he went to Rutgers. He didn't make first team all Big East. He wasn't All-American. He was a great player in Montclair. You got guys, that are like Randy Wells, All-American at Notre Dame. Quinnis, All-American, drafted, playing for the Colts. I mean, they were great football players from Montclair. They were great in Montclair, great on all levels. I was a good player, man. And I'm not making it out to be no more than what I really am. It's guys that I have no problem. Quinnis and I, we talk about all the time. Quinnis is the GOAT.
Now, interesting you bring this up, because you probably threw out a ton of names, because that was going to be my question to you as far as your top 5 football players at Montclair. I know it'll change tomorrow.
I never saw Brandy. I saw Brandy play. I saw Boo Overby play. I saw, Quinnis play. I saw Fred play. I saw Erwin Sampson went to Duke. I didn't see Aubrey Lewis play. I didn't see, Lenny Coleman play. I didn't see, Craig play. Dunn. I didn't see the Haynes brothers play. But those are all players that are up there.
Mm-hmm.
This 2000s kids is running for 2,500 yards, 30 touchdowns, whatever. Again, that's the conversation we can have, man. They little kids, man. Webb, he ain't but 5'3". I could take him and throw him across the field,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I look at it like this, man. It was some great players. I mean, I'm telling you now, tackling Ricky Cook is going to be a problem.
Yeah.
Tackling Quinnis was definitely going to be a problem. We had some great players, not just in the backfield. I mean, Montclair has never been known as a quarterback school, but Pontine is up there. Again, you only could do what you have an opportunity to do. Could Pontine have thrown, 25 completions, for 350 yards in a game? You bet your boots. He was never called to do it.
Right.
Pontine is like Tom Brady. Tom Brady has never had a run play call for him. Could Pont done what Lamar Jackson does? No. When we start talking about like best players I've ever seen play football, they're none of them from Montclair. I mean, I saw a guy by the name, I don't know if you know him, he's from Bethel High School in Virginia. A couple guys I went to college with from the Hampton Roads area.
Okay.
This guy by the name, he was a pretty good basketball player. He was all right football player too.
I know where you go.
We call him, I think his name is Bubba Chuck. I never saw a quarterback be 20 yards down the field and pump fake a cornerback. And the guy going for the fake, like, how are you? You can't throw the ball down the field.
Right.
Pump fake.
That's crazy. Yeah.
Like, he's probably one of the best players I've ever seen play football. Like, single-handedly won a state championship. I mean, he had a good team. Again, Peppers. I'm not taking nothing away from Jabril. But there's a private school kid. Rashawn, private school kid. I'm not saying that if he would have went to, if Jabril went to East Orange, he would have been great there too.
Yeah.
If Rashawn, Gary, if he would have went to Plainfield High School, definitely would have been an intricate, force in that Watchung Hills Conference. But yeah, I mean, again, I'm just humbled to be, interviewed by you.
Nah, it goes the other way, man. Totally the other way. Just a few more, and I'll leave you alone here. Best part about being Lenny Watkins.
Have an opportunity just to be grateful for all my accomplishments and humble enough to take them all in stride.
Yeah.
Not allowing arrogance and confidence to be in the same barrel, to be in the same pot, because it's a thin line between being arrogant and confidence. It's a thin line. Whereas you look at, humility, being so humble, you forget what you forget what you've accomplished in life, and it takes reminders like this. I go to my mom's house; she still has all my plaques. And my son, when we had my mom's house for one of the days, I stopped by there, and my son went up in the attic and he grabbed my football helmet from high school.
Yeah.
And he's got it in his room. It's one of them old school bike double air helmets.
The bike joints, yeah.
Oh, heavy that's why we didn't get concussions, because the helmet was so thick with all that padding. You want to go get these helmets now? They look, it's like styrofoam. They ain't made with nothing.
Yeah. Nah, that is funny.
But
how about it's the best part about being you, but how about best part about being a father?
The best and the worst part are like almost the same. Being called daddy.
Yeah.
And then, if it's in person, or my daughter FaceTime yesterday, she was asking me, we're going on vacation. She bring She should pack a duffel bag, or she should bring a suitcase. Daddy. But I say it because you hear dad sometimes, and you almost want to change your name. I'm gonna change my name. Don't call me. You hear daddy so much.
Mhm.
It's all love.
Oh
But
yeah, most definitely.
you be like, God, daddy, I'm gonna change my name. You keep calling my name so much. Yeah.
Yeah. Nah, but we gonna miss it, when it's being called less, when they're on their own and everything else. So we gotta enjoy these moments, even though, no, most definitely.
Like, I had a rough situation this year. My son played baseball,
Mhm.
and they were light on coaches. I did something I didn't want to do twice. I didn't want to coach
Mhm.
because I didn't want my son looking at me while he's on shortstop, while he's batting. I wanted to be a spectator. I wanted to be a fan. I wanted to be a dad, not a coach.
Mhm.
And what I felt was the coaching staff. I'm not even a baseball player, but I understand the game. You're talking about 7-year-olds. They need fundamentals. Don't worry about the losing. And I had a conversation with the manager, which was the head coach. I said to him, I'm doing this because I see that the team needs help. But this isn't what I want to do. It's not that I don't want to coach. I just don't want my son to feel that he's doing something wrong and then look at me. Like, if you strike out, I'm not the person who you should be worried about what I'm going to say or what I'm going to show you what you should be doing differently. I want you to strike out. That means you swinging. Don't go down by not swinging. So I had a talk with the coach, and I told him, I said, you guys are good now. I'm going to go back on the other side of the fence. Because I only was there to assist until I felt things would be fine. So I didn't want to coach, but I did it anyway. But I didn't quit coaching because I never made a full commitment, because I said to the manager, I don't want to do this, but I'm only doing it to assist. And if I feel that I have a conflict as a parent / coach, I'm gonna step away. And that's what I started to develop between the coaches. I don't want to coach because this is your program and it's not mine. So I'm gonna let you have your baby, and I'm not trying to take your baby away from you. This is what you do.
Yeah. Nah, those decisions, and I hear you with the coaching piece and being a parent. You know what I mean? It's a fine line. Some people could do it great. It's smooth. Some people.
But I wasn't the head coach.
Right.
So you start talking about, like, if Dion was a DB coach and Shador played quarterback, he can't really say much to Shador because he's the DB coach. But with you being the head coach, everything, like, I like how Dion explained it when he had the Prime Amazon special about when they're in the facility, I'm coach. Off the field, whatever, I'm dad. And he doesn't intermingle those two.
Yeah.
But again, Shador is a young man. My son was 7 years old.
Right. Yeah. Got you. Book on your life. What would you call it?
Unfinished business. I mean,
yeah.
I got this part of my life now. It's not about me. It's about providing, for my children. And I look at it like my father didn't have a father. My father did all what he was able to accomplish on what we have, what's called the conscience, or feeling like I'm doing the best I can, and I'm doing what I know on the fly. So with me, I had a blueprint, I had a benchmark, and my dad instilled values in me that I also have the values of what I want to instill on my children. My dad never spoke to me about, you a black man and the world's not going to be fair to you. He never spoke to me about that. He spoke to me about, you better do the right thing. You know, don't get nobody pregnant. You know, save your money. You know, don't get locked up. You know, things like that. Whereas the times are different, and now, and I speak to my son, you know, about being a black young man and about the way how you handle yourself in the absence of me and your mother. I want you to act I want you to carry yourself as if I'm in the room.
That's right.
Carry myself as if my father, you know, like, or I say, like, if my mom saw me right now, what would she say? Would she be embarrassed? Would she condone or condemn what I do? And we all have those moments when we be like, man, I can't believe I did that.
Yeah.
You know, we all have those moments. And then we also have the moments, you know, my dad passed last August, and I'm like, yo, man, I know you're proud of me right now. Look what I just did. You know, I just want to be a beacon of positivity for my kids. You know, I want to provide a better life. Nothing was wrong with my life. I want to provide them a better having than what I had.
Right.
And
definitely.
And I'm fine with them being spoiled. I'm fine with them receiving some things and not feeling appreciative of what they got. But that's going to be the teaching moment. You know, that's going to be the moment where, you know, hey, you do understand. Oh, you don't? Okay, well, let me tell you. Let me show you. Hey, let me show you. This is what's going on over here. Look what's going on right here at our house. You know, my mom, you know, she's got air conditioners, but she don't turn them on. She'll turn the ceiling fan on. And my kids never had a window unit. They grew up central air.
Central air.
I went to Virginia State. We had central air. You open up your door to the hallway and you open your window to your room. That was my freshman year. Because they were older doors. I was central air. You had air coming from central, from this way, from that way. And then my sophomore year, I moved into a modernized dorm where I had central air. But I didn't grow up with central. I mean, I had window units. So we go to my mom's house, and my daughter's like, "It's hot in here. It's hot in here." I know it's not. It's hot in here. It's hot. I said, "This is how I grew up. This is how we grew up." I don't know if you remember in the movie The ATL when Evan Roth was complaining to the teacher about how it was hot in the class.
Yeah.
And then she said, you know, about, I know, honors classes or whatever, they got air in the honors classes or whatever. And she, you know, he was, but I'm fine with that. You know, I'm fine with my kids. You know, we drank from the hose. You know,
yeah.
Our kids drink bottled water, and I'm sure it's the same way you go in your house. You got a bottle of water, open bottle of water over here, open bottle of water over there. And we was kids, you had a cup, a Tupperware cup. And you know, you had water in the house. We didn't have no Poland Spring in the fridge, you know, water bottle in the water tower in the kitchen. We didn't have all that. Kids have it made now. So I'm fine with that. You know, if I have it to offer to my kids, I'd rather, like, I used to joke with my father, you know, I said, Dad, you better spend your money now, because when you go on, I'm gonna spend it for you. You know?
Yeah. Nah. Nah, good jewels, man. I know. Speaking of jewels and what have you, at this point in your life, what would this Lenny tell the 17, 18-year-old senior? What advice would you give that Lenny?
Oh, it's gonna rain.
Hmm.
Save your money. One thing I'm gonna say. Um, Take lots of pictures. Read the book. Don't watch the movie.
Hmm. Hmm.
You want to have in your life, you're gonna have a lot of friends. That's what they call? I'll call them acquaintances. I have a lot of people I'm acquainted with. I have a few friends.
Hmm.
And I would say a friend is a person who knows where the bodies are.
Hmm.
A friend is someone who has not incriminating information on you, but a friend is someone who's seen you at your most vulnerable point and never thrown it in your face.
Hmm.
A friend is somebody who's been there for you when you received those accolades, those flowers, and never was jealous of you. So I got a couple of friends.
Yeah.
A couple of them. And a friend, lastly, I'm going to say about a friend is you could have talked to that friend 2 weeks ago, 2 months ago, and that last conversation you had with that friend would not have you feel like his or her absence had anything to affect on the length of time that you've not talked to one another.
Hmm.
You could have an acquaintance, you could just left before you spoke to, before we came on this Zoom,
Hmm.
acquaintance that you could be fine with never talking to again.
Right. That's right. That's right.
A friend ain't gonna leave you. No, I hope they would ever want to.
Hmm. Nah, that's real. Nah, that's real. You probably answered this as well, but I'm gonna ask, what would rest in peace to you, pops here. What would your parents say about you?
My parents, both would be proud of me. My dad, he shows. He's a shower.
Mhm.
I could count the games, let's speak sports, that my dad attended. My dad never attended a wrestling match.
Mhm.
My dad worked basically 2 full-time jobs. My dad from like 80, what was that? My parents divorced in 81. My dad worked like 2 full-time jobs for like 20 years. He worked at FedEx. He worked at Coca-Cola initially.
Mhm.
He was in management, and then they went in a different direction in management, and he wanted stability, and he wanted the summers off. So he got into teaching. He taught at Weekway High School, and when I was in college, no, I would say when I was in high school, that's when he started attending the games, and I was hurt because it seemed like he only was coming to games because he found out I was good.
Mhm.
And him and his, his friends, they all come to the game. But never told me like, you played a good game. I remember this play. We didn't have those conversations.
Mhm.
But he said to me, like, you ever get tired of playing football? And I said, no. And he said, good. And that translated to me, him saying that you ever get tired of playing football, that means he sees I put a lot of time into it.
Mhm.
And that was his way of saying that you dedicated.
Mhm.
And I remember one of my memories, I was at Virginia State at homecoming. I remember we ran out the tunnel, and I remember like smile on his face. And that's Jimmy boy right there, full Jimmy. And that meant a lot to me. Because not to go another direction, but to talk about the the love languages, the 5 love languages. And I do at times want words of affirmation. I do want praise. But my dad's language was being a provider. And that's what my dad has instilled in me, to be a provider. But knowing what I missed out on in my life, I want to provide words of affirmation to my children. Or I want to receive words of affirmation from my friends or loved ones.
Yeah.
Because you can't tell your mom or dad how they're supposed to love you. You can't tell your kids, this is the way how I'm going to love you. And this is what I want you to respect from me. Because that's in your character. That is in your character. You can't, if you got to tell your significant other how to treat you, you was the wrong person. Not shame on them for not knowing how to treat you, but shame on you for allowing this person to get that close into your life, for them to become significantly insignificant in your life.
Yeah. Nah. Well, here's some words of affirmation from me to you. I said this usually what I do in the beginning, a little quick 5-second intro. One of the things I said, and I share with you, man, like, someone I looked up to and admired, man, from afar. Like I said, obviously, sports is the linkage in regards to, who you were and what you've done. And I knew you since Cobras, just with everything here, man, just looking up to you. And again, I knew your number. As soon as you said it early on, I was like 63, and those that know me know, as far as just my, even growing up, though I was over at Immaculate, my heart was always to have that Mountie written across my back, as far as growing up here. So obviously my love for Montclair athletics, has always been there, but in particularly you, like just to have opportunity to watch you and, see you perform, I know the wrestling piece as well too. But just to hear and even chopping it up prior before this, man, I was like, Lenny is solid, man, and and always have been. And thank you for this opportunity. I told you I've been trying to get you since I started doing this here. So to finally get you, this is more than worth the wait, Lenny. So thank you, man, and thank you for allowing me to look up to you, too, throughout all these years as well, too, man. I wanted to share that with you, man. So just thank you for a little bit as far as being in my life, even though you didn't even know it. So thank you, man.
Well, and that's that's where I go back to when I think about me not being selected as a captain. Your influence, and that regardless if you may think it's sig or insignificant, an influence is very powerful. And you never want to have your influence start out, your intention could not be, but the result can be negative.
Yes.
And I just want to be a positive influence, powerful influence. And I recognize through education that's provided me that tenet.
Yeah.
And I don't know my factor, my X factor, my influence on people initially. It takes time. And I tell my students, it's primarily when I'm in the health classroom, what I want you to do is I want you to picture yourself doing this right now, Eben. I tell my students, if you walk into this room and everybody is doing their own thing and they turn around to look to see you at the door, how are the people going to feel about you entering the room? Are they going to look the other way? Are they going to be happy to see you?
Mm-hmm.
What is your influence? What is your impact on your peers? On the people who you don't even, people who, your influence on people who don't need you. How do you influence them?
Mm-hmm.
How are you impacting their lives? Because I don't want to go to Willowbrook Mall and be with my kids, and then I run into someone who I taught in the early 2000s or late 90s, and they act like they don't know me. And I say, hey, what's going on, Kevin? Or I see someone with their kids,
Mm-hmm.
and they be like, that's that teacher I had, told me I wasn't going to be in life. Or
Yeah.
am I going to run into a student who I taught and be excited to see me when she's currently a student now, and I run into her and she introduced me to her dad or her mom or her grandmother? Are you going to avoid me in public? That's something that I think about. For people who are out there that say they don't care about what other people think, is that really true? You don't care about what they think if it's negative, but if they praising you, you want them to tell everybody else in the world.
Mm-hmm.
So I look at it like,
yeah, you're right. What they say sometimes too, people say they always want your opinion to you, give them one.
yeah.
I mean,
So, I look at it like, no one's out in the world to be hated,
mm-hmm.
but you want the love. So that's, I'll tell you, like, that was a very, that is sadder. That me not being chosen to be a captain is far more sadder to me than not winning the game against Randolph.
Mm. Yeah.
Because my own teammates didn't like me.
Mm. But I think being able to self-reflect on that, and then to your point here, as far as you're able to channel that in a different way, in regards to, you talk about the students that you done had, or kids you don't coach throughout the years here, to make that change to when you're at Willowbrook or you bump into somebody, on the humble here, like the commentary's a lot different. It's a lot different. So you've been able to, again, take that and flip it.
I'm sorry, I just had to plug this in real quick.
Nah, I see that pot in the back, man. I'm about to ask you, about to come down for some food, man.
Oh, no, that was, that been up there from the weekend. I made some crab legs.
All right. Yeah, that's definitely Jersey here, man.
Yeah.
But as you get back, as far as say again, Lenny, from the bottom of my heart, man, thank you.
Hey, I appreciate you.
Thank you for doing this, man.
I appreciate you. I'll be sure to check it out. I'll definitely be sure to check it out.
Nah, back at you, man. And let's not make this the last time we talk, man. Even
okay,
don't say what's up, man. We know too many common people, man, or or push them to the side and connect. So definitely, we'll talk, man.
All right, now I just ask you to do one small thing, right?
What's up?
Now, when you post this link, put James Watkins.
Okay. Let me don't put Big Swole.
Nah, you can put no. It's my class. Put James. Put James Watkins.
You want James Watkins?
I'm not what do you call it? The artist formerly known as Lenny Watkins. You could just put James Watkins.
No Lenny in quotes.
You can put Lenny in quotes. You could do that. That's fine.
But James Lenny Watkins, got you.
Yep.
You say no more.
All right,
no doubt. Peace.
Thanks a lot.
All right. Great stuff. I appreciate Lenny taking time out. Like I said, I looked up to him and always wanted to get him on here whenever he had opportunity to, and I was able to connect with him. So this is worth the wait and then some here. So with that said, I'm gonna just step off. I put my hand over my heart. That means I feel you. Yeah.